My name is Shirley Foxno, City Clerk for the City of Tampa. Roll call, please.
Carlson. Here. Hurtak. Here. Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson. Present. Vieira. Here. Miranda.
Here.
And Maniscalco. Here. We have a physical quorum.
Thank you. We will now conduct the elections for Chairman and Chairman Pro-Tem for the Tampa City Council. Here are the election guidelines. The election of the chair will be held first. Nominations do not require second. Please wait to be recognized before nominating a candidate. I will open the nominations and close them after all nominations have been made. Votes will be counted by raising the hand. The vote will be taken in the order of the nominations, beginning with the first name nominated. The vote will cease as soon as there is a majority, which requires 4 votes. Having said that, nominations are now in order for chairman. Okay, Mr. Vieira.
I nominate Alan Clendenin.
Alan Clendenin has been nominated.
I nominate Guido Maniscalco.
Guido Maniscalco has been nominated. Is there another nomination? All in favor of Mr. or Councilman Clendenin, please raise your hand. All in favor of Councilman Maniscalco, please raise your hand. 4, okay. Councilman Maniscalco has been nominated and has won.
Thank you very much.
You like to say a few words?
No, thank you to my colleagues for their support and for believing in me. It's an honor serving with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nominations are now in order for the Chairman Pro Tem. Is there a nomination?
I nominate Mr. Clendenin.
Mr. Clendenin has been nominated. Is there another? Oh, yes.
Carlson.
Mr. Carson has been nominated.
I'll withdraw my name, thank you.
Excuse me?
I'll withdraw my name, thank you.
Okay. All in favor of Mr. Clendenin, please raise your hand. Okay. Mr. Clendenin, if you have to say a few words.
No, thank you very much. I look forward to another year working with council and Chairman Guido Maniscalco. Thank you.
Okay. We will move on to the CRA. Yes, sir.
Councilmember Henderson.
Councilman Henderson has been nominated. Is there another nomination? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Is there a nomination for Vice Chair of the CRA? Yes, sir.
Clendenin.
I decline that.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I would decline that nomination. Thank you.
Oh, you declined. Okay, is there another nomination? Yes, sir.
I'll nominate
Appreciate it, but I decline.
If somebody wants to nominate, I'll just do it
I'll
again.
nominate you,
I don't care, I'll take it.
Luis Vieira. Luis Vieira.
Louis Vieira has been nominated.
It's always awkward.
Give that speech again. Heavy as the
Is there another nomination? Okay, Ms. Henderson?
Yes, thank you so much. I really love serving as chair of the CRA, so I appreciate the vote of confidence in me again. Almost all of the CRAs are actually in my district except one, and I've just learned so much, and it's really a great role to be in, and I am honored to serve again, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you and congratulations. Mr. Vieira?
I am again prepared to assume the heavy burdens of this office. Thank you. I did it again.
All right, Thank you, and congratulations to everyone. It will be a good year.
Thank you, Ms. Shirley.
I would like to turn the meeting back over to Mr. Maniscalco.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order officially. We've already done roll call. Do we need to do it again? Okay, roll call. Oh, I'm sorry. If we could stand for a moment of silence and then keep standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Carlson.
Here.
Pertek. Here. Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson. Present. Vieira.
Here.
Miranda. And Maniscalco.
Here.
We have a fiscal quorum.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from April 17, 2025, and the workshop and evening sessions held on April 24, 2025? We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Vieira, you have Police Officer of the Month.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, sir. Oh, and before you begin, can I get an approval of the agenda and the addendum? Oh, sorry. Just a moment, I know, but there's an addendum item. The addendum, the item that's on the addendum is a resolution approving, ratifying, and confirming the appointments of the Equal Business Opportunity Advisory Council. So, all right, let's go through the approval of the agenda. Councilmember Hurtag, is there anything you wanted to pull?
No, I just wanted to talk about item number 7, to take that off.
Okay.
Because the FDOT doesn't have an update for this quarter, but I would request that next quarter, they update us on some of the bike paths going along Ola, Central. They're doing a bunch of work. We're getting a lot of people asking about North Highland in my area, so if they could come and give us an update on some of the extra mobility items, we would appreciate it.
Could I ask?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Could we ask for also an update on the 275 project going to the city? Thank you.
All right,
Is that
so
in the form of a motion to add to the agenda?
I don't know that we can require FDOT
You
to
could
come,
request-
but
you
I
could
think
request it,
we're just requesting.
But you wanted those subjects included in your request.
Sure, then I will make a motion. I will make a motion to ask Mr. Bede to request FDOT come and speak about multimodal work that FDOT is doing, and additionally, updates on 275, I'm assuming the Malfunction Junction area? Yes.
And then the planning project all the way to the Franklin.
Okay, great.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second from Councilmember Carlson, correct? All right, all in favor? Aye. And then can we
say
get a
one
motion
thing?
to remove item 7? Yes, sir.
This update is from a previous motion someone else made, but my name is on this motion. And I just want to say that, that we appreciate DOT. They report to the governor and the state, not to us, and we appreciate them coming and giving us updates. Even though the public and we may not agree with them all the time, we appreciate them giving updates. Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion then to remove item 7? Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilman Vieira, all in favor? Aye. All right, we have to wait till 1:30 to do it, but there's a hearing at 1:30. They're asking for a continuance, but we have to wait till 1:30 to do it. Yes,
Chairman,
Mr.
what
Shelby?
number is that?
That number is,
If we can go to 61, please. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. Council, this is a misnotice. It cannot be heard. It will not be heard. There is no need to wait till 1:30 because it's not going to be a continuance. So if council wishes to address your 1:30 public hearing at this time, you can do so by removing number 61. And you can also, if you like, to set the date for rescheduling so the staff can notify the applicant.
okay, so we have a motion to remove item 61 from the agenda from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. And then if we can set the public hearing by request of the applicant for June 6, 2025, 1:30 PM, right here at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, third floor, Tampa 33602. Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we're going to go to staff reports. Is there an administration update, Chief? Nope, no administration update. Council members, item 64 has a memo with additional information. It's a $12.8 million contract. Do you need anybody present? No? All right, how about item 65? There's an additional information from Ms. Colina, yes?
Well, this has to come in front of us twice, so yeah, we should probably hear about it.
Yes, and it's $40 million. All right, item 66, staff to provide an update, yes, sir?
Yes, no, I'm sorry, it's the next one, excuse me, yep.
Would you like folks present for 66?
yes.
All right. Administration to appear, Councilmember Vieira is asking that item 67 be continued to June 26?
Yes, sir, so moved, please.
Motion to continue 67 to June 26, 2025, second from Councilmember Henderson, all in favor? Aye. Let's see, we have a mobility department regarding the 2023 mobility fee study. We have a memo from Brandon Campbell, Councilmember Hurtak.
Yes, basically the memo just says that that we approved a contract, then they're looking into it. They should have some answers for us by early 2026. So I don't need people
All
here
right,
for that.
so the memo is sufficient. No on 68. Item number 69, there's a written report from Mr. Bide. Do you want somebody in person?
Yeah, I think we still just need folks to talk about this. We're getting so many emails and phone calls. People are really worried.
Yes. All right. And item number 70, is that a yes? Well, there's a written response, but again, there's been a lot of emails with 70. Item 71, Abby Feely will be present to provide a verbal update, so that's a yes. Item 72, Evan Johnson is asking that this item be continued to August 28, 2025. Okay. Motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. All right, and then can I get a motion to receive and file the written staff reports? Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. All right, now, if there's nothing else, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda and the addendum. Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Vieira, for real this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good to see everybody here this morning. It's my great pleasure to introduce here Dr. Chief Burkhaw to talk about our Officer of the Month. We're going to be honoring Officer Christopher Miller, and we're going to be hearing about the great work that he does in preventing retail theft, something that's very, very important on so many levels, both to hopefully setting the folks who do that act on the right way, as well as helping out small businesses. And to talk about this individual, we will have here Dr. Chief Burkhaw. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Vieira, and good morning, Council. Before I do highlight our Officer of the Month, I would like to acknowledge that this evening we are having our annual memorial service where we honor the 32 officers that gave their lives for this city. We're also honoring their family, and we just want to let everyone know that they will never be forgotten, the sacrifice they made. So the invitation is open to obviously all of you all, but anybody in the community that wishes to be there. It'll be in front of police headquarters tonight at 7 o'clock. So, yes, you did say retail theft, and you know, retail theft is something that we're all concerned about, and not only preventing it, but I'm gonna read you a story about our Officer of the Month, Chris Miller, who actually holds those accountable. And you see across the nation where some retail theft suspects are not being held accountable, but fortunately we have officers like MPO Chris Miller that you're gonna hear today. So, Master Police Officer Chris Miller is being honored for his exceptional investigative work and leadership in combating organized retail theft, not the one-offs, but the organized. On March 21st of this year, he led a successful investigation into a coordinated criminal group of suspects responsible for stealing more than $8,400 in merchandise from local shops. This case was initiated by a silent alert generated GPS tracking device, which is part of a pilot program that MPO Miller was instrumental in launching in partnership with one of the companies. Upon receiving the alert, he quickly tracked the suspects, confirming their identities using real-time GPS data and surveillance footage coordinated through multi-agency response in the Lakeland Police Department. In this attempt, they were able to apprehend the suspects, and they were able to recover 82 stolen items. Over the past year, MPO Miller's investigative efforts have resulted in over 162 probable cause findings and contributed to a 71% reduction in retail theft within his own patrol district. As the department's liaison to the West Shore Alliance and a key contributor to our Tampa Bay Regional Intelligence Center Retail Theft Initiative, he has played a critical role in advancing Tampa's citywide crime prevention strategies. MPO Miller exemplifies the highest standards of professionalism, initiative, and service. His dedication reflects the very best of the Tampa Police Department. It's with great pride and gratitude that we recognize his exceptional service today, which is why he is also being recognized as our May Officer of the Month. So congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you, Chief. And now, before we formally honor you, sir, we have a lot of folks from the community, starting with the PBA, that would like to honor you.
Yeah, sir. Great job. Brandon Barclay, Tampa PBA. We just want to present this plaque to you for a job well done. Good job.
Good morning, Officer Miller. My name's Mary Beth Williams. I'm here with the Friends of the Tampa Riverwalk, and on behalf of our organization, we would like to thank you for your service to our community and present you with a personalized engraver along the Tampa Riverwalk. Thank you. There are a number of corporate organizations who also support Friends of the Riverwalk who couldn't be here today, and on their behalf, I'd like to present you with a few tokens of their appreciation. A Splitsville adult party, $200 in gift certificates to Florida Avenue Brewing, $200 Elevage at the Epicurean gift certificate, Yacht Starship dinner for two, Pirate Water Taxi 2-day all passes, Lost Pearl 2 complimentary admissions, and Tampa Riverwalk 2 complimentary 1-hour rentals. Thank you. So please take the time to enjoy those with your family, and again, thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning, Officer Mary Dillon, Stratus Center for the Performing Arts. On behalf of the Stratus, please accept 2 tickets to our upcoming Broadway series. It's the 25-26 series. So enclose all sorts of beverage tickets and my business card in case you have any questions. But thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council. Brian Ford with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and congratulations on this morning's elections, and thanks for all that you do each and every day for our community. And thank you, Chief, for tonight's memorial service. We do it better, as we were talking earlier, than any city I've ever been in, so makes us proud to be here in Tampa, and I'll be there. And sir, thank you and your family for your sacrifice, and we've already talked, we had a little fumble, but I'm going to give you this temporary ball, but please, you have my contact information. And on behalf of the Glazer family, our entire organization, thank you for all that you do each and every day and the sacrifice that you make. And I look forward to giving your family that tour at One Buccaneer Place.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good morning, Council, Chief. Jeff Houck, I'm Vice President of Marketing for the 1905 Family Restaurants, which includes the Columbia Restaurant, Eulalie, Casa Santo Stefano, and Cha-Cha Coconuts. And we'd like to say thank you for your service and all you do for the community by offering this gift card that you can please bring your family and enjoy at any of our locations. The Godsmart family is an incredible supporter of law enforcement and first responders, and this is a small token to say thank you.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
Catch those guys, would you?
Definitely.
Keep them under control. I'm going to put those there, so you need to take those with you. There's a special invocation here that's been developed just for the police and fire and the first responders, and that's for you to keep. On behalf of Meat Market and Old Hyde Park, we're providing you with a gift certificate. On behalf of the Yummy House China Bistro, and I always say this, so the chief likes to go there, so.
Okay.
So Jackson's Bistro on Harbor Island, Chicho Restaurant Group, and so that brings it all up. So Bella Brava, you've got that over in the Midtown section. hope you enjoy yourself and go work out.
Definitely will, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Councilman Vieira? Councilman Vieira?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Wait.
And so, sir, on behalf of a really grateful city and campus.
And one more, on behalf of the Tampa
Oh,
Theater.
thank you.
They had to leave early, but this is a one-year membership for two. You get $3 off regular price movie tickets and this bucket of goodies.
All right, thank you.
So on behalf of the Tampa, it's not coming from me, it's coming from them, but enjoy.
Round of applause for Thank you. So, on behalf of a really grateful city of Tampa, sir, for you and your family, I saw your family here, including the gentleman in the Boston Red Sox hat. That's awesome. And we really appreciate all your work and your service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I mean that. Thank you. If you want to stand.
Thank you, council, for having me today. It's been a great honor being recognized. Thank you, Chief Burkhoff, for your support. All the command staff, Major Thiel, Sergeant Savitt. Most importantly, thank you to my wife Shannon, my daughter Kate, and all my family for their continued support throughout 23 years in law enforcement. I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So, thank you.
Councilman Moran.
Thank you for what you do and the whole police force on a daily basis. It's 365 days a year. However, we sometimes forget that a crime like what they're committing is called small crime, but it's really a multi-billion-dollar crime when you look at the whole country, United States of America, and the ones that are paying the price are the ones that are buying the other products and paying for them. So I want to congratulate you and your whole staff and the chief and the department for the fine work that you've done for the city of Tampa, not yesterday, not today, but forever. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember Carlson.
Yeah, and we agreed as a council not to talk during accommodation, so I apologize to my colleagues, but one of the biggest fears that I get from my constituents is that we'll become like New York or LA or San Francisco, where people aren't safe in retail stores. And in like the streets of New York, you go into a Walgreens and you have to get an attendant to help you unlock the shampoo rack or other simple things that don't cost really that much relatively. And people are afraid of Tampa becoming like that. And I want to thank you and your colleagues for keeping us safe every day and protecting our community so we don't have that kind of problem and we can say we're not like that. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you again.
And we'll wait. How are you, Paul? Doing all right, man? Good to see you. I wrote up my remarks.
Good crack, by the way.
Where does your wife teach now? Shaw Elementary. Oh, Shaw, okay, yeah. So remember, she was my son's teacher at Learning Gate. How long was she at Learning Gate for?
Less than a year.
Okay.
She's more, she likes to
Okay. I get it. Cool.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. So it's funny. I wanted to honor Paul Guzzo for a while. He's just such a remarkable Tampano and a great guy. But I never thought it was proper to honor him while he was actively a journalist. You know, he's gotten so many awards from University of Tampa, the NAACP, the Deltas, and so many different organizations. And so now that he's no longer an active journalist, I thought it was a good time to do this for this great guy. You know, whenever I think about the work that Paul Guzzo does, I think about a gentleman named Gary Moore, who was a reporter for the then St. Petersburg Times, who had uncovered something that very few people knew about, the Rosewood Massacre that happened in 1923, when about a little over 24 African Americans were murdered out of a town of about 100 African Americans here in Florida, one of our many instances of racial injustice and violence that were unknown. For me, Paul Guzzo is that kind of journalist who uncovers things that people don't know about, that people should know about. And the work that he's done has been just amazing, not just in talking about issues of ignored racial violence and things like that, as we'll talk about, but talking about a lot of other, I mean, Paul always did unique stories that meant a lot to the community. I first got to know Paul 10 years ago when I was doing an event at the federal courthouse on the Bay of Pigs invasion, and he covered it, and we got to know one another, and we were sharing some funny stories in that regard. But the main thing that we're honoring Mr. Guzzo for is his work with abandoned historically African American cemeteries. This goes again to the heart of that ugly, painful, racial Florida history of injustice, of violence, of brutality, and lynching that not enough people know about or publicly acknowledge. And Paul has done monumental work that has reached Tallahassee through his advocacy. This ultimately first started with his work on the lost Mount Zion Cemetery through the Tampa Bay Times that was published in 2019, which literally moved mountains. Out of this grew not just a reckoning and a historical discovery, but a movement that we feel here in Tampa on lost cemeteries. Out of this would grow the founding, or strike that, the rediscovery of Ridgewood Cemetery near 56th Street, where almost 300 souls were buried and lost. Clearwater Heights, College Hill Cemetery with the Italian Club, Port Tampa Cemetery, May Stringer House Cemetery, Keystone Park Memorial Cemetery. Thanks to the leadership of many people in Tallahassee, including Representative Fentress Driscoll, we were able to get legislation to be signed by the governor to help fund local communities that want to help out with local abandoned African American cemeteries, and so many other stories. I remember a great story that Mr. Guzzo did on African Americans during World War II at MacDill. And the great disrespect that they had. Great stories on Memorial Park Cemetery, story after story. And he's also a great writer who has done many, many books. One of them that's very special to me is the book recently, For Cuba and for Freedom, which he did on Raul Villama and Rhonda Villama. And it was interesting because I was telling Paul when I read it, he actually mentions Juan Silverio, Dr. Juan Silverio, who was my grandfather, is actually or great-grandfather, who's actually mentioned in that book. So, you know, Paul's a very remarkable guy. His work in journalism really, really moved mountains, and I know that we all appreciate his work. So now that he's, maybe for now, finished, or maybe forever, finished with the role of journalist, I think it's so important to honor him. So for that, Paul, and for so much more, you're a good guy. We're proud to honor you, sir. Here you go, buddy. God bless you, man. You want to say anything? What's that? You want to say anything? Have at it.
Yeah, just thank you. When I was growing up, my only goal was to never have to wear a tie to work, and everything over that was a success. So, yeah, I would say this is gravy on top of that. I would just like to remind a cemetery only stops being erased when it's uncovered. Until then, they're still being erased. We discovered 11 possible sites of erased cemeteries. 6 of the property owners have done the work to discover graves are still there. 5 of the property owners have yet to do that. 4 of those cemeteries are in the city of Tampa. So right now, 4 cemeteries are still being erased on your watch. I know it's private property, but I just want to think there's something more we can do. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So a quick story. First, you deserved a Pulitzer for your work. The level of work and the magnitude and the impact, I mean, you truly deserve it. So thank you for that. Number 2, just a short story of how long I've been a Paul Guzzo fan. So the night that I told my parents I didn't want to go to law school and I said I want to run for city council, I was on my way to go see the Charlie Wall movie. that you and, was it your brother also? So the Guzzo brothers, Peter and Paul. And starring the great Gene Suda, as you know. I'm going to throw that out there. But anyways, I have your book in my office, The Dark Side of Sunshine. I went to one of your book signings, had it signed there. And you talk about stories of Ybor City, of Tampa, that you can't find anywhere, whether it was published in Cigar City magazine or just in the book. I've learned so much from your writing, and I appreciate it very much. But going back to your work as a journalist, the impact that you've had on this community. There's people in the audience today that will be probably bringing up all your work. So it's invaluable. Just know that you're appreciated. You're turning the tide of history, but as you said, on our watch. It's up to us to move things forward. And I know we've done some. We need to do more. But if it wasn't for your work, I mean, some of the loss may still have been, lost until who knows when. So just know that you are appreciated, and this is the least we can do to honor you. Thank you very much. Councilmember Carlson.
I just want to say I've known Paul since he was with the Tribune. I don't think I knew you at La Gazette or Creative Living, but anyway, you've been in essence a historian of Tampa for a long time, and you were invaluable at the Times, and in capturing all different stories about the culture of Tampa. And I remember every time I introduce you, I get it slightly off, but like you and Gene drove down from exit 7A. And you didn't grow up here, but you know more history of Tampa than almost anybody. At one time I was driving north through New Jersey, and I called him and said, "I'm passing exit 7." He said, "No, I'm from 7A." and so I didn't drive off to see what the difference was. But anyway, thank you for learning our culture and capturing it and putting it in the history. You've written so many important stories about everything from music to history, culture, our ties with Cuba, everything.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say thank you for your work as a journalist. That is so important now more than ever, as truly that's being hampered in this country. And I did want to ask, what are you doing now?
I work for USF.
Okay, well, congratulations on that, but we will miss your reporting and the importance that you brought to the issues that matter to so many Tampaños. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Miranda.
I just want to say thank you from listening to what Mr. Vieira said about you. And being a journalist, I think, is one of the toughest things to do. The story may be there, but how do you get it? Who's telling the truth? Who's not telling the truth? Where are the facts? Are they hidden or are they real facts? And to do those things, you have to be innovative. You have to have a smell for things that are not going well, and you have to write it the way you see it. So all those things in a composition of a writing, it takes a special individual to put that in paper so that people understand what you've done and how you did it, and you do quite well. So I like your haircut, that's number one. And I
God's haircut.
I didn't want to say that, but that's why I brought it up, though. I just want to see your reaction to it. But I just want to say thank you for who you are, what you've done, and what you continue doing. Without press, without media, we have a country that's divided, and we'll continue to divide more, and that's just my opinion. I'm a member of every time I have a chance to participate in buying a newspaper, I buy it on a yearly basis, because it's a fact that is written by individuals like yourself, all of them, that are being forgotten in this country. And when you see more and more media outlets, especially in the news, print media going out of business, this country is heading for disaster. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Anderson.
Congratulations, Mr. Guzzo. Once a journalist, always a journalist. It's not going to go away. It will never leave your body, that's for sure, or your mind. I appreciate your level of work, especially your care for Black spaces that are forgotten. It's very evident by not only the accolades you've received in the past, by even your statements today. So thank you very much for all that you've done. And of course, we wish you well at the University of South Florida. I know you've been there for a minute, right?
About 8 months.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carlson.
Yeah, one last thing. We talked about a lot of different areas that you've written history about, but a very important one we forgot is championship wrestling. Damn, you're like the local expert on championship wrestling, and you've written histories about that, and please continue because it's really interesting, the ties to Tampa.
Thank you.
And come to think of it, I have a box of Paul Guzzo articles. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I love your writing. You know. So, anyways, this is again a small token of appreciation because you deserve a whole lot more. Thank you very much. Sir.
Thank you. And if I may, I want to recognize who's here, Adam Smith, who's here, I'm sure, and
just say he's a rock star. I call him
Go up to the
yeah, please. Yeah.
State your name.
I'm Adam Smith, Communications Director, former colleague of Paul's, and it's great that you're honoring him because he does phenomenal work. We miss him a ton in the community as a journalist. I call him Graveyard Guzzo, and he was a pleasure to work with.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, sir. All right, we'll go to public comment. Mr. Shelby, if you could read the rules, and we'll start with Michael Randolph, who is our sole virtual speaker. So, Mr. Shelby.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney, here to briefly discuss the rules of decorum for today's meeting of the Tampa City Council. Now, members of the public are allowed a reasonable opportunity at the beginning of today's meeting to address any item on the agenda before the City Council takes official action on the item. The way to do that is to complete a speaker card that is located outside the chambers, place it in the box, and then what will happen is your name will be called by the chair to come up, and a 3-minute time limit applies to all speakers providing public comment. Speakers and members of the public are please reminded to refrain from disruptive behavior, including making vulgar or threatening remarks or making or causing disruptive noises or sounds or displaying signs or graphics. And speakers are also reminded to refrain from launching personal attacks against any city official, staff member, or any other member of the public. Now, the chair will rule out of order any person who speaks without being recognized or attempts to address the City Council from outside the speaker area at the podium. Persons failing to comply with the council rules may also be ruled out of order and, at the discretion of the chair, may be removed from the chambers for the remainder of today's meeting. Now, if you're here to speak on an item that is set on the agenda as a public hearing, and it's noted as a public hearing, you will have that opportunity to speak, not at public comment, but later when it is heard on the agenda. No public comment will be taken later during staff reports, so if you're here to speak about staff reports or items on the consent agenda, the time is now during general public comment. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, City Council members should refrain from engaging a speaker under public comment, and the public should be aware that the City Council does not take questions or have a dialogue during general public comment. This is your opportunity to express your position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Michael Randolph is our lone registered speaker, and then we'll go to the in-person. Yes, Mr. Randolph. Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much. My name is Michael Randolph, and I want to start off by saying, do not forget about Zion Cemetery. Today I'm here to discuss a pressing issue facing nonprofits. What has come to be known as the safety net crisis. Last night I had the privilege of hosting the Mastering Funding and Project Design for Nonprofit and Social Enterprise Workshop, which brought together representatives from over 35 states. Attendees range from community advocates to seasoned professionals, and their diverse perspectives highlighted common challenges faced by nonprofits. A major concern that was brought up during the discussion was the ongoing reduction in funding and uncertainty surrounding nonprofits. As you know, the federal budget has cut significant impact in existing programs, specifically in marginalized communities. The challenges are particularly severe for African American nonprofits, which face systemic inequalities as well as disparity in funding. To address these challenges, nonprofits must explore strategies in diversifying funds, building strong donor relationships, and fostering corporate partnership. Moving forward, the same workshop will be delivered to nonprofits in West Tampa. It will focus on equipping struggling organizations with the skills and strategies needed to weather these challenges and build adaptability. We have not forgotten about the for-profit sector. As you know, our workshops coming up include understanding investors and lenders, creating a bankable business plan, sales and marketing 101, of course, artificial intelligence, and home-based businesses in e-commerce. So if you are a nonprofit or you're for-profit in West Tampa, we hear you and we're coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Randolph. We'll now go to the in-person public comment. We have Mr. Steve Michelini, Miss Eileen Henderson, who I saw, she may have stepped out, but Mr. Michelini, Miss Henderson, and Marty Green.
Good morning, Council. Steve Michelini. I'm here to speak on item number 70. There seems to be some confusion about what the Soho Business Alliance supports and doesn't support regarding the stormwater project being proposed for South Howard. It is never and it will not support anything going through the neighborhoods or disrupts the neighborhoods in any way. We have proposed an alternate route, which includes going down and using city right-of-way and CSX right-of-way, which should be investigated thoroughly before any decisions are made regarding this project. It seems like we're spending a lot of money without investigating and looking at some additional alternatives, including the redevelopment of the park that exists along Swan and the railroad tracks, which is a very large tract of land. And we have recommended that it be looked at for potential underground stormwater retention before any of the water is transferred down the other routes. But South Howard is the lifeblood of that business community, and disrupting it, destroying that would be a travesty. Also, it would be equally devastating for those neighbors, either Parkland Estates or New Suburb Beautiful, to be disrupted. So there are alternate routes, and we urge the city staff to look at them very carefully. I have a prepared statement if you'd like to have a copy of it.
Sure, if you'd like to give it to the attorney.
It is fundamentally wrong to have neighborhoods being pitted against each other and the business community. We've asked that they join together with the Business Alliance, including Parkland and New Suburb Beautiful, in examining alternate routes that don't disturb and disrupt either of those three areas. So I'll be looking forward to the presentation later. The contract currently calls for Kimmons to look at Bristol to Howard, Morrison to Howard, and Swan to Howard. I also would urge the council to consider looking at that contract and urging the administration to revise it to include other alternate routes. And I understand from the memorandum that the city staff has said they're looking at it. However, the contract is not providing for that other option. Anyway, I certainly appreciate your consideration. This is an extremely large project. It's a very important project for all of those involved. And we'd like to see an alternative that does not disrupt the neighborhoods or the businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Eileen Henderson, Marty Green, Riva Iman, and Montesnot. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Eileen Henderson. I'm here for Paul Guzzo. Today is a happy day. It is wonderful when we see people like Paul Guzzo celebrated. We don't see enough of it, and that's why I'm here, because I want to make sure that I make a point to thank all of you personally for looking out for Paul and making sure that he is recognized. I have to tell you, when I started the Cemetery Society, I remember my first meeting with Paul. And he was just very intense and was very, let's just get to the truth and cut to the chase kind of person, which is very much how I am. And so I could definitely appreciate that. But he did an awesome job. And what I've always said about the work that the Cemetery Society does is we are nothing without those journalists and the media. We really are nothing. Not even social media can touch what journalists and the media can do for us. And what Paul Guzzo has done for Tampa's historic cemeteries definitely needs to be applauded. I'm sad that he's not a journalist anymore, because I would rely on him when we needed stories to get put out there. But I know he's doing wonderful work with USF. I've seen some of the stuff that he has done over there. But all I wanted to say today was thank you. Today's a good day, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Marty Green, Riva Iman, Montesnot. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please
My
state
name
your
is
name.
Marty Green. I work for the mobility department.
Yes,
Transportation. I have pictures to show you.
Yeah,
and
put them down on the overhead, and then they'll put them up on the screen.
This is in South Tampa that we paved. City of Tampa has lost a TAC contract, and this is water-based TAC. It's messing up all the bubbles that's in the street. It's messing up everything in South Tampa. We have brought it to the supervisor's attention. Michael Brown and Vic Bide we dealing with racism. I went to Vic B-Day on September, and I explained to him about the situation which supervisors calling employees monkeys. Nothing was done to him. Nothing was done to them. We went to HR. Nothing was done. I spoke to HR about other situations, about how retaliation, how I'm being treated. They did nothing about it. They told me I need to shut up and mind my business. And as of right now, I've been dealing with, we go get 5 tons of asphalt up under Anthony Stafford. When we went and got the 5 tons of asphalt, we told him we're not going to use that. We only used 2 tons of asphalt. Went and dumped the rest of the asphalt on 9th Avenue and Orange Road, 63rd and Broadway, and 48th and Broadway. We was dumping mix. For the people spending their money, as me as a taxpayer, dumping the asphalt and dumping the mix is not called for. And we told them that it was not, we're not able to use it. And we was told if we don't do it, we was going to get written up. So I know after I do this, I may lose my job, I might get fired. But I'm letting you know that the city of Tampa, the mobility department is being ran like a dog and pony show. And up under a dictator of Michael Brown. Michael Brown asked me to borrow $10,000, and I asked to take the test with HR. They refused to do it. I said, I want to prove as a man who I am. I said, I asked, can I take a lot of the test? They refused to do it. Everything that's been going on up under the mobility department, the morale of the department has went down since he became chief operator. I told them about the no disrespect to the illegal immigrants. We have Haitians that work at the mobility department under a subcontractor. I brought to their attention about DOT standards. If you don't have IMOT, you cannot touch none of the MOT product. They told me, oh, we'll look into it. When I went to them again, they told me, oh, mind your business, we looking into it. Why are you causing it so hard? Now, it's a $300,000 temp budget. It needs, mobility department need to be audited. An audit need to go on because right now, machines have been bought that city council did not approve of. And right now, supervisors are stealing time from the city. And you put in positions of employees that don't know nothing about a job, they put them in that position, and right now that need to be looked into.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Riva Iman, Montesnon Yvonne Farrelly. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Reba Iman. I'm the vice chair of the Zion Presbyterian. It was coincident that I choose today to come to this meeting, and you all are praising Paul Gunsmart. Zion Cemetery. The story he wrote on Zion Cemetery, and also some other cemeteries. But just to hear y'all praises today, just put a different broad to me, mind-wise. For over 5 years, we have been trying to do some things with Zion Cemetery, and it's yet to have been done. But I listened to you all today as, thank you for these stories. Thank you for bringing this out. Let's do a story with you all. Let's make you make history too. Let's make Zion history. Let's see what this administration today could fulfill what we need done for Zion that has not been done yet. We have been sitting back, waiting for the city to make some things happen. And it's yet to be done today. Ms. Henderson, it is your district. I ask of you to set up a meeting with the city attorney who's been dealing with Zion and the city officials who have been talking among themselves to be a part, to see some of our board members. I'm the vice chair. Fred Hearns is the president of the nonprofit. And we ask of a meeting with you all. Let's see what is really going on. History is in the making. Thank you all for what you've done so far. Thank you all for how you just praised Paul. But the best thing you can do for Paul, myself, those individuals that are laying there resting, is to bring some peace. And in order to do that, we're not able to get the funding we need to do it because of 3 parcels of 3 different owners that we have been trying to get you all to give them some land so we can get some funding. We cannot get funding up under 3 different owners. We cannot move forward. It's been over 5 years. There's another ask. If you can give us $15 million, guess what? We don't have to worry about those 3 owners. So you have that in your budget to give us. There's the things that we want to do to educate the city, the students here, families, a genealogy center, or the memorial it's for everyone. History's in the making, but we need to have this done fast. Ms. Henderson, please, at your earliest convenience, we'd like to set that meeting up with what attorney who has been dealing with these 2 other owners, yourself, and whoever city officials, and let's sit down at the table and make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And please address the council body as a whole, just for anybody speaking. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am. All right. Mentesnot, Yvonne Farrelly, Marilyn Samaha. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Mentesnot, Uhuru, Tampa, Florida. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili, and we as African people should always be thinking about our freedom, because for 825 years we hadn't had that freedom. No self-determination, no independence, no any of those things. No liberty, no justice. I'm here to talk about child support. You say you got to talk about the city council as a whole? I want them to collectively get on the phone and call the chief judge and tell them child support is illegal and unconstitutional. It's a 4th branch of government. It's a big genocide program. It's an ethnic cleansing program. And it's a slow Negro genocide program. And it have all the characteristics of the Great Replacement theory. It have all the characteristics of a eugenics program. And it have some nasty hearing officers over there. Arabella Campbell, Charles Denton, Sabrina Fry, Ku Klux Klan, Daughters of the Confederacy. It's going on right a few blocks from here. As nasty as ever. But the fact of the matter is, they suspend tens of thousands of African people's driver's license. Tens of thousands of driver's license. Oh, you'll suspend my driver's license because I can't afford to send a check to my child, so you'll suspend my driver's license. You'll put me in debtor's prisons that white people say was illegal since the 1200s, and the U.S. law said was illegal since 1833, and the U.S. Constitution says it's illegal. But they still putting black people in prison for debt, calling it civil contempt of court. Yeah, all kind of tricks. This city council need to move on that. It's ruining many African people's lives that they can't even recover. You can't recover from it. And they have a big trick down there. So many black men walking around the hood. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, $150,000 back child support, arrearage child support. Where is that taking place? How's that going to get paid? Ruining African people's lives. Ruining African families' lives. I want this city council to make a move and do something about child support. It's time to have a moratorium on child support. It's hurting too many African people. Plain and simple. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yvonne Farrelly, Marilyn Samaha, and Ellsworth Williams. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
Yvonne Farrelly, on behalf of Parkland Estates Civic Club. Hi. Thank you for your commitment to the community. I want to address that this council had unanimously voted to support bypassing Parkland Estates and the South Howard Flood Mitigation Project, Resolution CM 246831. Recently, I had a conversation with the stormwater manager, Wao Ling, and she had said that the proposed projects would be heading down the 3 proposed projects in Parkland Estates, 2 down Lakeview Avenue and 1 Swan to Howard. I would like to bring your attention to the fact that when you unanimously voted to keep Parkland Estates free of box culverts, the size of the box culvert was 10 by 5. This project has elevated and progress to a box culvert proposed to be 10 by 12. In order for Mr. Zamina to install such a large box, he would need 36 feet across the street of Lakeview. Lakeview is only 21 feet across.
Is this how I do it?
Yes, we can see it.
So in order to accomplish the 36 feet of workspace, he would be intruding onto the right-of-way and destroying that tree-lined right-of-way on both sides of the street.
And tell them the cones mark that, 36.
The cones are marked at 36 feet. So the curb is 21 feet, and the trench box for this box culvert is 20 feet, and Mr. Zamino also says that he needs another 4.5 feet to dig the hole. So the hole would be about 25 feet across. That's gone beyond the curbs of the street, and it would be going down approximately 16 to 23 feet into the ground. The water table is at 6 feet, so he will have to be pumping out a substantial amount of groundwater through the length of Lakeview to install these box culverts. I again want to address council and ask them for the support to keep these box culverts out of Parkland Estates. They were too large at 10 by 5, and they're extremely too large at 10 by 12. Thank you, council.
Yes, ma'am. Marilyn Samaha, do you wish to speak? You
Yes,
signed up for
please.
3 minutes?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'd like to.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Marilyn Samaha, and I'm here as the Vice President of Parkland Estates Civic Club. We sent you this letter on April 27th. We also had a meeting with the mayor on March the 5th, which basically states our position here. We are the sole people of Parkland Estates, the official community civic club. You will hear a lot of people using our names in a lot of different ways. But so on behalf of Parkland Estates, we are writing you to urge you to continue support and enforcement of the resolution file number CM24-6831, which is right there, regarding the proposed South Howard flood relief project routes. This received unanimous approval. Specifically, this motion directs staff to eliminate the use of Bristol Avenue for vaults and to bypass our neighborhood Parkland Estates by utilizing commercial corridors to resolve flooding issue. It further stipulates your refusal to fund or approve the project otherwise. The City of Tampa has a clear responsibility to adhere to this directive. Fortunately, viable commercial corridors exist that would allow the construction of this project without impacting the Parkland Estates neighborhood. The proposed route outlined in the JMT proposal following Swan Avenue to Howard Avenue and then to Bayshore Boulevard aligns with your unanimous resolution of CM24-6831. We, the residents of Parkland Estates, firmly support the implementation of the city proposed route bypassing our neighborhood. In contrast, the other two JMT proposal routes go down Lakeview Avenue to Bristol, Lakeview Avenue to Morrison. And we showed you the devastation that's going to happen in these small interior residential roads. According to John Zamina, VP of Kemmons, this would necessitate trenches 36 feet wide, which really are sidewalk to sidewalk with a little bit in. Given that Lakewood Avenue is only 21 feet from curb to curb, achieving this width would result in the destruction of nearly the entire tree-lined right-of-way on both sides of the street, leading to the loss of over 180 mature trees. Therefore, Parkland Estates unequivocally supports the city-proposed JMT route of Swan Avenue, Howard Avenue, Bayshore Boulevard, as it is the best interest of our residents. And we request you enforce your unanimous resolution of CM 246831. And we appreciate everything that you do, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Be careful. All right, Mr. Williams, Reverend Astudillo, and Thomas Spalding. Upside
Thank you.
down. And before you speak, sir, I just want to acknowledge Bishop Tom Scott in the audience, former city council member and county commissioner and chair of both, I believe, so he is here with us. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, Chair and members of the City Council. I'm Ellsworth Williams. I go by Tony. I'm the CEO and President for Veterans Counseling Veterans. As everybody knows, I'm a one-trick pony. So when you see me up here, I'm talking about the veterans. I'm here, though, to make sure that a certain segment of the veteran population is not forgotten. As we prepare to honor my fellow veterans, brothers and sisters, on Memorial Day. Some of these brothers don't get the same honor or recognition during Memorial Day. Who are these veterans? The veterans I'm talking about are veterans and first responders who died by suicide. In fact, Florida has over 719,000 veterans over the age of 65, and veterans over 65 is the one demographic that suicide, it continue to rise. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, suicide still continues in our community. In fact, we just lost a hero, retired Lieutenant Colonel. He was a special operator. And anybody in the military world, when we say special operators, excuse my French, it means a badass. He died by suicide. He left behind a son and a family. And I told myself he would not be forgotten. So Veterans Council veterans, so we make sure that that veteran and family is not forgotten. We have a special ceremony that we have been going on since, it's our 11th special memorial ceremony for veterans, families of veterans, and their friends and first responders who died by suicide. And I added first responders because it's personal. My wife served in law enforcement for 25 years. And whenever a law enforcement dies by suicide, it affects her. And of course, if it affects her, it affects me. And that's why I made sure I included them in this memorial. So I'm inviting the council as usual. Councilman Luis Vieira has been a guest speaker many times, and of course I invite him again. I know we're busy doing memorial, but I just think this is something we got to set aside. We have this particular memorial because it really is a time of a safe space. Oftentimes, can you imagine, here's a special operator who's given his life countless of times, and if they ask his son or his wife, how did he die? Imagine what they have to say. There's a stigma. And we give them a safe space so they can come there, honor that veteran without anybody looking cross-eyed and understanding it and nodding there. They need that. They will not be forgotten, at least not in Veterans Watch. I'm asking you, the council, you're absolutely invited. It's going to be on the 24th of May, 11:30 to 12:30 at American Legion Post 5 on 3810 West Kennedy Boulevard. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, we have Reverend Astudillo and Mr. Spalding. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name. And then after that, Mr. Bobby Creighton. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, council members. I coordinate a climate justice and faith program at a Lutheran seminary. And last night we invited two psychiatrists to the class. People shared their traumas about recent hurricanes, the loss of neighbors, homes, trees. And one of the things the psychiatrist recommended to heal from trauma was first to name what we're feeling, to build resilient communities, and a chance to change hopelessness with action. So here I am. I'm saddened and disgusted. There is a desert in the making in my neighborhood. Most of us feel as if we are still in the middle of hurricane season. The sense of threat, destruction, and loss continues. What language have we not spoken? What code have we not unearthed yet? Our pleas keep falling on deaf ears. We are responsible. Who is responsible to guide us? We are greatly distressed to see that the city of Tampa yesterday issued a permit to a private developer to remove a grand camphor that stands at a gateway shade tree in the city's right-of-way at the entrance of Eds Park. Many residents this past week sent petitions to the city to prevent that these healthy and non-hazardous trees be cut down, including this grand camphor, without a reasonable rationale by the developer. So we ask, one, why wasn't this grand tree removal request referred to the Parks Department, as the city code says? The city's website offers a document entitled Chapter 13 Code Revisions, where it states, if tree removal is for a tree located in the right-of-way, it is referred to the Parks Department. Nothing in Acela shows that this tree removal request was referred to the Parks Department. 2, why was no mitigation required for this grand camphor tree as code says? Another City of Tampa section of the code reads, the camphor tree shall be deemed protected for purposes of mitigation replacement calculation. There is nothing on Acela that documents any mitigation was considered or required. 3, will the Parks Development intervene to stop the removal of the 2 gatewood trees in the right-of-way entrance of Epps Park? Based on our arborist 2024 tree survey of the multi-lot plan development, the developer or persons unknown have removed, with or without permits, more than half the trees, including trees in the right-of-way next to Epps Park. When you look at the developer's 5 lots today, what you see is bare land. We're talking about a neighborhood here. There has to be a limit as to how many trees the developer is allowed to cut in public lands. Time is of the essence. Please help us protect the remaining trees. Help not just developers, but also the Friends of Epps Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spalding. You're the next speaker. Would you like to use your 3 minutes, sir?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. And then Mr. Bobby Creighton. And then it says here Racial Reconciliation Committee. I don't know if the committee is coming up altogether. We'll address that at that time. Yes? Okay. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Yeah, good morning, Council. My name is Thomas Spalding. I'm here today as a representative also of Friends of Epps Park. Friends of Epps Park was formed by hundreds of Seminole Heights neighbors who seek to protect the park, our neighborhood, and the river and its natural resources in response to the trauma that we all experienced during those storms in 2024. And because of this developer's proposal for a multi-lot housing development and road in Epps adjacent floodplain. I'm back here today representing Friends of Epps Park because the developer is quite savvy. He knows how to remove himself from the legitimate authority of this body to have no scrutiny, no public input into a multi-lot development. So he's going in 1 lot at a time. The first 2 lots have hit the permit process. And that's what I want to speak to because it speaks to this ordinance about fill. Our technical committee of Friends of Epps Park has volunteer engineers with more than 60 years of combined experience. We've reviewed the plans, and it shows a cement wall being constructed in the in the floodplain, and significant volumes of fill being brought in to put behind that wall in the floodplain, AE 12, below the base flood elevation level of 12 feet. The City of Tampa has passed these ordinances called flood-resistant development to protect our community from flooding. Specifically, Section 5, 121222 addresses the use of fill in the floodplain. You'll see here it says, fill is not allowed without compensatory excavation unless an applicant provides proper engineering studies showing no adverse effects. No fill in the floodplain unless you compensate with taking fill out. This brings me to our request for all of you, which is we've been asking the city staff in development and growth management if and when they will apply this code to these permits. We've been told, or misleading statements, and there's 3 things I want to raise. So I'm asking for City Council to intervene and speak with them themselves and to clarify if and when this code will be applied. First, we're not getting direct answers. We've repeatedly asked for that information. They've not provided a direct answer to our question. The second reason we're alerting you to this is that on its face, it appears the city may not be following its own code. We found out it's not just this project, but multiple projects where fill is being allowed without any kind of excavation to compensate in the floodplain.
You still have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. So the third reason I'm in front of you is because FEMA encourages this, right? Because this isn't just about our neighborhood, it's about the whole city. Our discounts in the flood insurance program rely on us complying with our own code around flood-resistant development. We get a 5% bump in discounts if we comply. Each time we lose a 5% each time we don't comply and go below threshold, we lose $2.2 million in premium discounts for citizens of this city. Thank you so much. I appreciate your intervention on this.
Yes, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Bobby Creighton, then the Racial Reconciliation Committee, and Robin Lockett, and Stephanie Pointer. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, Bobby Creighton. You all have an unenviable job. You have major problems with the city, from stormwater, flood relief, transportation, things that directly affect the safety and resiliency of the people of our city. But you also have to dive into smaller issues that are full of minutia, such as noise ordinances or the size of digital signs. I would ask you to turn your attention to one of those issues that is one of those minutia issues. It's one that I've been speaking about for a while, which is how the city might be able to manage vacant spaces to find a better balance between property rights and respecting people's space, while also achieving equitable outcomes for vulnerable neighborhoods. I've done a lot of research on this. I figured I would put it out there for the public to see. I created a website with all the things that I've looked at from various sources. I've typed every word of what's written there. There's an email address for people who might want to learn more, but some of the things that we might be able to do are fairly common sense, I would say. Do we have capable, data management practices to be able to have a strategic approach to this problem? For property owners with historic structures that are almost disintegrating, is there a way that we can have a timeline or a stepwise process where they're not getting slammed with code enforcement all the time? Are there alternative boarding materials that allow greater visibility into structures for inspection? Are the hardship allowance criteria actually helping people that are in need? The list goes on and on and on. I'll cut it short. The point I would like to make today is the city is in an ecosystem full of resources to address this problem. There's the Florida Institute of Government at USF. They partner with the Florida Association of Code Enforcement. There's various organizations that offer technical assistance and expertise on this issue. And it's something that the department already looks at. They're continually considering and evaluating best practices of similar local governments throughout Florida. This is from their report in February of last year. So maybe a first step, since we can kind of explore this at a low level, it might be, can we get a written report about what are some of the things that might be being considered as best practices within the department? What are they talking about? Are there things that they're looking at? Are we being strategic about the various issues that the department confronts? And just go from there with a written report. Might be an easy way to kind of walk ourselves into progress on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next up, we'll have the Racial Reconciliation Committee. Is there a main speaker for the group? Okay. And I want to first thank the committee for being here, and especially my friend, Dr. Jeffrey Johnson, who's my appointee to the board. Always good to see you. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning. Christopher Harris, and as you can see, I've got members of the committee that are here with me, some that are not here this morning. I'm going to read a prepared statement, if I may. I did. Yes, sir. Time is a non-renewable resource. Once it is spent, you cannot get it back. In 2023, a group of community and organizational leaders were designated to serve as members of the City of Tampa's Racial Reconciliation Committee. The vision, agenda, and work for this committee seemed exciting and empowering, and many selected for the committee, as well as many onlookers, were eager to not only get the committee to work and get started, but to see the results of that work. Every member of the current city council and many members of the city staff were excited to see this train moving forward. To be frank, we're not quite sure to make of what the mayor's response or excitement was to this committee. While acknowledging the reality, we will not go into detail on the number of matters, discussions, motions, resolutions, committees, promises channeled through the city regarding the advancement of issues that directly pertain to the city's African American community. History has recorded those realities, and our current dynamic has revealed the fruit from those actions and sometimes inaction. This editorial is to specifically speak to the lack of engagement, responsiveness, and commitment to the work of this committee by the city's mayor, the mayor's office, and staff. This committee is reaping the harvest from a divided city leadership. It is not a stretch for any observer of the activity of both the executive and legislative branches of our city government to notice quickly that while they are cordial with one another, they are not collaborative, nor are they proactively innovative in moving certain issues progressively forward. Their activity is more like teenage siblings who are enmeshed in the blame game when something goes wrong. In no way are we suggesting that our committee are the parents attempting to check the executive and legislative branches. We are, however, the visiting cousins sitting in the family room watching the two argue over what we are going to eat and who will eat first. It is disheartening to dedicate energy, talent, expertise, and time to a project to not have what you need to be successful. To date, we have asked the mayor's staff on numerous occasions for a collaborative spirit that would include data, gaps in the data, subject matter experts, departmental leads, a situational analysis, and a progress report of the mayor's agenda on the issues specifically related to this committee to help drive our discussions and ultimately our recommendations to the city on how to amicably move forward on certain issues. There has been static on the phone line. All of this would be a basic partnership that will allow this committee to be successful and to allow us to make recommendations that would be well-rounded, tested, and wise. While we have centered this missive on the emphasis of not wasting time, it should also be noted that there's a considerable budget that's been dedicated to this committee's work, and we want to also note that we should all be wanting to work to be great stewards over the city's economic resources and human resources. Why are we sharing this publicly? Simply put, we are sharing that this lack of response publicly because we believe that we must be accountable to the city, to the citizens that we represent, and to answer for the influence that we've been afforded. Secondly, it should be noted that there are concerned leaders who are willingly volunteering their time to partner with the city to provide solutions, and to do so, the city has not been as responsive as needed. At the final editing of this editorial, it should be noted that the mayor's chief of staff has initiated a conversation. We will see where that lands this committee. We also want to take a moment now and welcome any of the members of the community to our last two meetings and to be in the room as we finalize our formal recommendations that will be delivered to both the mayor's administration and to the city council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to the members of the committee. Thank you so much. And we have a copy of this editorial. It was passed out to all of us, so we have the complete statement. Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Robin Lockett, do you wish to speak? You're signed up. Please state your name.
Robin Lockett. So just to reiterate, regarding the Racial Reconciliation Committee, we didn't join this committee for it to fail. We joined this committee and we agreed to be on this committee to make significant changes. The acknowledgement of how the city of Tampa has handled the Black community is noted because it was in the resolution. So we need partnership. That's with the administration, and you guys voted unanimously, right? So, but we need partnership. There's a budget that's outlined that I think personally that we need an additional meeting because, again, we are trying to figure things out with less resources. So, but I thank you guys for hearing us today, and we have, like I said, joined this committee not to fail, but to move forward and make significant changes. Oh, and do something about Zion Cemetery also.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Mrs. Stephanie Pointer, Jose Vasquez, and our last speaker is Keela McCaskill. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Today is a perfect example. Stephanie Pointer. Today is the perfect example why I like to go towards the end, because the citizens of Tampa have a lot to say, and sometimes I really want to comment on that. I think, if I recall correctly, I said before the Racial Reconciliation Committee was set up that you needed to make sure that they had a caretaker. It's pretty obvious they didn't get one, or at least not one who was doing a really good job. So I just want to point that out, that we as the Budget Committee, which is the only other committee that you guys actually have independent of the mayor's office, we struggled for a long time. And we had some problems getting our feet on the ground. And we're glad to have support now. But you can't let that go. I want to say this. We've got the land development code in process. We've got the comp plan in process. And I don't want y'all to give away a lick of your power. You make land development changes, you are responsible for that. Don't give it away. I've got a couple things in the oven right now that when they come out, there's serious ethical issues going on. And we need to make sure that they're taken care of. I'd like to point out that camphor trees are not protected trees, and I'd like to also point out that the developer they're speaking about is not developing a planned development. He is building what he has the rights to build under our code. He is building within his rights as a property owner and as landowner. And it seems like we are moving past that and bringing it before council, and it's not a council issue. It's you can build what you need to build for your children. The houses are for his children. It's not a development. Let's make sure that that's straight. I want to point out to you that there are some things coming up in the comprehensive plan that I do not like. This is one of my favorite. If you read all of the stuff about the comprehensive plan, the CHHA, there are 5, 6, 10, whatever, things in the comprehensive plan that are all say the same thing. The river is flowing this way, but we have this one, 7.1.4, allowing developers to put more density in the CHHA if they do this. Well, if you read the rest of it, this person's swimming upstream. I'd also like to point out that we have economic engines in the city of Tampa. One of our 3 largest is MacDill Air Force Base. They employ just as many people as the port does. But they are at the end of a dead end. The port, you can get there from all sides. And it says our comprehensive plan says to support and strengthen MacDill Air Force Base and requiring surrounding development to be compatible as it's related.
Thank you very much.
So we need to make sure that we are giving MacDill Air Force Base the respect they deserve when we're doing comprehensive plan changes. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jose Vasquez, and then Keela McCaskill is our final speaker. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Jose Vasquez, resident of 2222 North 64th Street. Business located 1924 rear North 60th Street. And this is a continuance of the problem I bring into this council since January of this year. Again, we're still waiting for transportation, mobility, and other departments to come in to do their survival job on your land. I want to bring to your attention, I continue being harassed by my neighbor. He planted these palm trees in your property. The instruction for the code enforcement is to clean the area of the improved road, while it's my legal right. It's not being cleaned. I want to bring to your attention what I had to do for the last 3 days was put me in the hospital on cleaning the area. And now he decided to continue planting trees. Now he bamboo trees in front of my legal entrance. I had to bring this to your attention because this gentleman not do a beautification on the area. He planted trees outside of his property located on 5819 Eastern Avenue to make him profit, blocking the improved road of the city of Tampa and make a profit. This is unacceptable. I try to do a living. I rent a property. You buy that part of that land in 1973 for having legal access. I had to call different departments to find out that the city of Tampa owns 75 feet wild by 328 feet down, all the way down to the river. Okay, I tried to clean it because you decide that going to be 59th Street on my right-of-way access to my business. It's sad. I had to be harassed, call names. I had to call the police of Tampa to defend myself. And the last they tell me is, this is his First Amendment, to disrespect me, to stop me, try to do the right thing to help the city of Tampa. You know, this is unacceptable. I'm being filed complaints. The inspector of code enforcement, this gentleman do his job. But up to the transportation, mobility, and the real estate not do their part, I'm going to be continued victim of this. I lost one truck. That was my bread and butter truck for over a year now. I cannot work. But I can pay the city of Tampa taxes that you give me the opportunity to park in 25 cars, and I cannot do it. So I'm here again today to please try to find out why these departments continue to delay our process, what continue affecting that improved road belongs to you and is my right of way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. McCaskill, you are the last speaker. Please state your name, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, Keela McCaskill, native here in Tampa. There really needs to be a reset. There has to be. There really needs to be a reset on how the administration and how you as a body deal with people of color. It is downright embarrassing for a group of people that you pick. You put those people on that board for that 568 resolution, made some adjustments to make it convenient for the administration is what I believe. And now they're coming down here saying they're not getting the support that they need. It's embarrassing, and I've said to you previously that there needs to be a different type of engagement. We already know historically the city of Tampa has been downright disrespectful as it relates to people of color. I'm thinking about Madam Fortune Taylor, how she had acres of real estate in one of the most prominent areas of this city, and the mayor turned developer after they took it from her. All we have left is a bridge that somebody had to beg to put her name on, Tampa Park. When that woman sits in the middle of a CRA, she couldn't get 1 cent from the CRA to assist them. Yet when the new developer came along, and I like that developer, so nothing against the developer, when they came along, all kinds of resources was offered. Was he able to do it better than she was? I don't know, but she could not receive assistance from the CRA that she was sitting in. I'm gonna go on to no significant investment in East Tampa for over 21 years. May 17, 2004, Channelside received their CRP, and so did East Tampa. Do they look anything alike? Anything alike. They received their marching orders on the same day, same month. Look at the difference. None of you can be that dumb, deaf, or blind to see that there's not an issue. And then this group comes forward, and you put them there, and they coming up here almost downright demanding resources. What's sad about it is the administration has at least 3 things that they could share with this group that could be beneficial. The mayor started a business navigator role to help small businesses navigate through the city of Tampa, getting them some resources. The role is amazing. They have a genius in the role. And I don't see why they couldn't come to this group and say, hey, this is how we can help. She has Bertha over in procurement, who can help people get qualified to receive contracts, assistance, learn how to become qualified so that these small businesses in our community can benefit from some of those contracts. She also has Bridges to Business. And the people in Bridges to Business are extremely helpful to individuals like myself, which means I will fall in that group. I suggest a different engagement from you all as it relates to dealing with us. Change the mindset. I saw a group of people when the mayor did her State of the City, and she launched Fair Oaks as the only significant investment now in East Tampa. We want more than that. We need housing. You clapping about a park when your kids have nowhere to live in East Tampa. Engage with the community differently. Listen to what we're saying, and not just the staff. Encourage communication from the administration to come forward to that group and share just those 3 departments. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. That concludes public comment. At this time, we'll go to board and administration appointments. These are appointments to a variety of boards. Can we move them all as a selective group?
Yeah.
Yeah? Can I get a motion to move 8, 9, 10, and 11? We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. And Mr. Shelby, you'll come back with a resolution?
Actually, 8, 9, 10, and 11 all have resolutions prepared.
Okay.
Now would be an appropriate time for you to move the item that's on the addendum, because it also pertains to the EBOAC
So to
appointments.
ratify the Equal Business Opportunity Advisory Council, we have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak with a second from Vieira. All in favor? Aye. And this is on the addendum for us to see. Thank you, Mr. Shelby. Councilmember Vieira, you are Public Safety Committee.
Yes, sir. I move items 12 through 18.
We have a motion, and we have a substitute on 15, correct? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilman Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Henderson?
Yes, Chair, I move Neighborhood and Community Affairs Committee 19 through 24.
Thank you very much. We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilman Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Hurtak?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, point of order. I am going to choose to recuse myself on 26. My firm does not work with this organization and probably doesn't have anything to do with this, but in an abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself because we work with a related organization.
Okay, so we have a motion to move 25 and then 27 through 32. Is that correct, Councilmember Hurtak?
Well, I haven't made it yet, but yes, I move item 25 and 27 through 32.
All right, we have a second from Councilmember Clendenin, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And then a separate motion for 26
Yes.
with Councilmember
I
Carlson
will,
abstaining.
yeah, I will move item number 26.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin, all in favor? Aye. And if you could read that so the record shows that
Motion carried
Carlson.
unanimously with Carlson abstaining.
All right, Councilman Miranda, Finance Committee, 33,
So
34.
move item 33 and 34.
We have a motion from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second? Is there a second? Anybody? Second from Councilmember Clendenin, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Carlson, 35 through 47.
Yeah, and same thing on 36 and 47. My company doesn't work on these issues or necessarily with these companies, but in an abundance of caution, because we work with related companies, I'm going to recuse myself on 36 and 47.
All right, so
And just a reminder to the administration that the Ethics Commission asked us that even if we're not sure if we have a conflict, it's better to avoid a conflict, and asking for a recusal is not, is the right thing to do, and the ethical thing to do.
So move the items from your committee minus the ones that you
Yeah, so
mentioned.
35, and then I move 35, then 37 through 46.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Carlson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Vieira, all in favor? Aye. All right, so 36, Councilmember Clendenin, can you make that motion?
I move item 36 and 47. Do we have to both of them? Yeah.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin for 36 and 47. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Miranda, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and then read it out so the record is clear.
Motion carried unanimously with Carlson abstaining.
Right.
I move item 48.
Councilmember Clendenin moving item 48, second Councilmember Hurtak, all in favor? Aye. All right, item 47 is a review hearing to be scheduled on June 26, 2025 at 1:30 PM. 49, I'm sorry. 49 to be scheduled for June 26, 2025 at 1:30 PM, 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida. Do we have a motion? Motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is past 10 o'clock, and I need a motion to open the 10 a.m. and 10:30 public hearing. We have a
Second.
motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda, all in favor? Aye. All right, these are quasi judicial. We have, one person registered, two people for item 56, Chris Valiente and Susan Solomon, and I'll get to them just in case if we don't swear them in now. If you're gonna speak on any of the public hearings, please stand, raise your right hand, and we'll swear you in. On any item from 50 all the way to 60.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right. And just for clarification, 59 and 60 are not quasi judicial, but just. All right, that's the intro music for item number 50. Who wishes to come up on item number 50? It's
Kamaria Pettis-Mackel from the Legal Department. Item number 50 is an ordinance for second reading and adoption regarding the removal of a property located at 206 West Columbus Drive. Staff gave a presentation during first reading, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
And I reviewed the record for item number 50 from the April 3rd meeting, and I'm ready to vote. Yes, sir. Wait, Ms. Elaine Lund, did you have to add anything to that?
Elaine Lund, Historic Preservation. I do not have anything to add. I'm just present in case you have any questions for me today. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Michelini, please state your name.
Steve Michelini, counsel representing the petitioner. You may recall this man's property was split when part of it was in the in the designated district, part of it was not. We went to the to the Historic Preservation Board, and it received unanimous support there, and it's being forwarded to you for council's adoption and for the adjustments to the map. We respectfully request your approval.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 50? I see no one. There's no one registered. Motion to close from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilman Miranda, would you mind reading item number 50?
No, sir, thank you. Item number 50, file number 8PC 24-39C. Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance in the city of Tampa, Florida, removing the property located at 206 West Columbus Drive, Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in Section 3 thereof, from Tampa Heights Historic District, providing for repeal of all ordinance and conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilman Vieira. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you very much. Next is item 51.
Yes, thank you, Chairman and Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Council, item 51 is REZ 2415. It's for the property located at 2007 Davis Street. The request is to rezone the property from RM16 residential multifamily to PD planned development for residential single-family semi-detached use. This item is before you this morning for second reading and adoption. Site plan modifications were required to be made. Those changes have been made to the site plan. The plan has been certified and provided to the clerk. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Dock? I see none. Do we have an applicant for item 51? Is there anybody here for 51? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak for 51 or on 51? I see no one. Can I get a motion closed?
So moved.
Motion from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second. Second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilman Vieira.
Yes, sir,
51.
Mr. Chair. I move an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 2007 Davis Street, City of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification RM, residential multifamily to PD planned development, residential single-family semi-detached, providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilman Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously with Hurtek being absent at vote.
Thank you. Item number 52.
Thank you again, Chairman and Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Item 52 is REZ 2482. It's for the property located at 1503, 1505 North Florida Avenue, 1601, 1604, 1605, 1607, 1613, and 1615 North Marion Street, 1602, 1604, 1606, and 1608 North Morgan Street. The request is to rezone the property from PD planned development, which currently allows for residential multifamily, storefront residential, CG uses, to PD planned development for storefront residential, CG uses, residential single-family attached, and commercial parking uses on site. Site plan modifications were required to be made between first and second reading. Those changes have been made to the site plan. The site plan has been certified and provided to the clerk. I did want to just read on the record some of the changes that were required to be made between first and second reading. There were changes, of course, included on the staff report, but there were also changes agreed upon during the hearing. And they were, the three changes were to show the covered and protected bag storage for the commercial, and to provide and show the square footage of the bag storage area for the residential on the western block, and also to modify waiver number 3 on the site plan from 28% to 27%. And all three of those changes have been made on that certified site plan. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? Nope. All right. Do we have an applicant for this item 52? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive. Yes, revisions were made to the site plan, and we did add internal bike storage for both the commercial uses and then 500 square feet for the residential uses, which is industry standard. So.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 52?
Move to close.
We have a motion to close. There's nobody registered. Motion from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second. Second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Well, I'm sorry. We, Councilmember Henderson.
Sure. Yes, Chair, absolutely. I move file number REZ 24-82, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning the property in the general vicinity of 1503 and 1505 North Florida Avenue, 1601, 1604, 1605, 1607, 1613, and 1615 North Marion Street, and 1602, 1604, 1606, and 1608 North Morgan Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification PD plan development to PD plan development storefront residential, all commercial general uses. commercial parking, and residential single-family attached, providing an effective date.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second, and please record your vote.
And the resolution is for the second reading as well, so I move the resolution now
Wait,
for
wait,
this.
After she announces it, then we'll do. Yes, ma'am?
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, motion to move the resolution.
Motion to move the resolution.
All right, we're moving the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Miranda, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that was unanimous. Thank you very much. Next is item number 53.
Good morning, Council. For the record, Christopher DeMonch with Development Coordination. Item number 53 is REZ 2489. This is an item rezoning request for a property located at 2705 East 19th Avenue. The request is to rezone from residential single-family 50 to planned development for residential single-family semi-detached uses. Site plan revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for the gentleman? I see none. Do we have an applicant for item number 53?
Move to close.
We don't have anybody registered. Motion to close from Councilmember, wait. Oh, anybody here for public comment on 53? All right, motion to close from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Clendenin, 53.
I move file number REZ 2489, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 2705 East 19th Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classifications RS50, residential single-family, to PD, planned development, residential single-family, semi-detached, providing an effective date.
We have a motion and a second from Councilmember Vieira. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
And I move the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion to move the resolution from Councilman Clendenin, second from Councilman Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That was a unanimous yes. Item number 54.
Thank you again, Christopher DeMonch with Development Coordination. Item number 54 is REZ 24111. This item is a rezoning request for the property located at 2403 West Fig Street. The request is to rezone from RM16 residential multifamily to RM18 residential multifamily. This is a Euclidean rezoning. There's no site plan associated with this request. I am available for any questions.
Any questions? I see none. Yes, Mr. Michelini, go ahead.
Steve Michelini, representing the petitioner. We've complied. Basically, it's a Euclidean rezoning. Respectfully request your approval. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for the gentleman? I see none. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on 54?
Move to
I
close.
see none. Motion to close from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second, Councilman Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Hurtak, 54.
Yes, file number REZ 24-111, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 2403 West Fig Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RM16 residential multifamily to RM18 residential multifamily, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much, sir. Item 55.
Thank you again, Christopher DeMonch with Development Coordination. For the record, item number 55 is REZ 2507. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 405 West Amelia Avenue. The request is to rezone from residential multifamily 16 to planned development for residential single-family attached. Site plan revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office. I am available for any questions.
Any questions? Yes? No? All right. Any? Yes, sir. Go ahead, applicant.
Steve Michelini, representing the applicant. We've made the revisions that were requested by council and staff. They've been submitted and certified. We respectfully request your approval.
All right. Any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item 55? I see none. Can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Carlson, 55.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'd like to move item 55, file number REZ 25-07, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 405 West Amelia Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RM16 residential multifamily to PD planned development residential single family attached, providing effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson. Do we have a second? Second. Second from Councilmember Vieira. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you very much, sir. Item number 56, and on 56, we have 2 registered individuals. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Doc, go ahead.
Thank you again, Chairman and Council. LaShawn Dock, Development Coordination. Item 56 is REZ 2516. This is for the property located at 103 South Hale Avenue. The request is to rezone the property from RS60 Residential Single Family to PD Plan Development for residential single family semi-detached use. Site plan changes were required to be made between first and second reading. Those changes have been made. The plan has been certified and provided to the clerk, and this item is before you this morning for second reading. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? All right, it says that the applicant owner is Chris Valiente. Is he online?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, but we need to see you on video, so I have to hold off.
I'm trying to turn my camera on, but I don't.
Yeah,
it doesn't allow me to
move you over into our digital world.
It says the session does not include camera sharing. Is there a way that the organizer can turn on the camera?
We can, you want to skip it to the next item, you say, and then come back to it?
Yes, if you could just answer the call from TNI so they could assist you.
Yeah, TNI is calling you to help you, and then we'll come back to you. So just talk to them and see how we figure this out. All right, we're going to hold 56 and go to 57. Ms. Doc, do you have 57? Okay, no, the other gentleman. Go ahead, sir. 57.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 57 is REZ 2518. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 2315 West Spruce Street. The request is to rezone from planned development to planned development for residential single-family detached uses. Site plan revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office. I am available for questions.
Any questions? Fred, please state your name.
Hi, Fred Henry, Domain Homes. I've been sworn. Just here to answer any questions you may have, and I appreciate your time and consideration.
Any questions for Mr. Henry? No? Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on 57? I see no one. We have no one registered. Can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Vieira, would you like to read 57?
Yes, sir, my pleasure. Move an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 2315 West Spruce Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development Residential, single-family detached, providing effective date as proposed by a gentleman with very good music taste.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
What is the good music taste? Bruce Springsteen? Everything?
He's a rocker.
Yes, like Lewis.
I support that, sir.
Thank you all.
Very good choice.
This is great. That's
We
right.
salute you, sir. All right, item number. It's a long way to the top if you want to run.
It is a long way to the top.
Anything
That's right.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks,
item
Council.
58.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 58 is REZ 2528. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 8413 North Orangeview Avenue. The request is to rezone from residential single-family 60 to residential single-family 50. This is a Euclidean rezoning. There's no site plan associated with the request. I'm available for any questions.
Do we have any questions for the gentleman? All right, do we have an applicant for 58? Yes, ma'am. Come on up and state your name.
Eileen Rosario, I've been sworn in, and I thank you for your time and your consideration on this approval.
Any
I'm
questions?
here for any questions. Nope.
All right. Do we have
Thank you.
anybody in the public to speak on 58? I see no one. Can I get a motion to
So
close?
moved.
We have a motion to close from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilmember, who's the second? Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Henderson, would you mind reading 58?
Yes, sir. An ordinance, I move file number REZ 2528, an ordinance being presented for a second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning the property in the general vicinity of 8413 North Orangeview Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification RS60 residential single family to RS50 residential single family, providing an effective date.
Right, we have a motion, we have a second. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. Is the gentleman for 56? Can we? There are people here? Well, let's see, do we have Susan Solomon online? Okay, should we take up 56 if the gentleman has nothing else to add? Mr. Shelby?
If he wants
He
to
does?
speak, he has,
All right. So
yes,
sir.
we can continue it.
I would like to make a motion to waive the rules to allow him to speak.
You have to see who it is on video, right? You have to see his face.
Well, the thing is, the question is whether that suffices from a due process standpoint for all interested parties who may be
Let's-
able to raise an objection.
Let's wait, we'll go into 59 and 60, and hopefully it gets squared away by then.
I'm with Chris. I'm 56.
Are you allowed to speak on his
Yes.
behalf?
Yes, I'm the owner
All
too.
right.
Well, wait, who's the gentleman who you're speaking on behalf of?
Chris Valiente.
Is Chris Valiente online?
Yes. Oh, so if he's no
And you're under,
objection, we
and you're
have
under
him.
oath, excuse me, sir.
Yes, I was here.
Yeah, he was sworn in, I saw him.
Okay, Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney, if you can just attest to the fact that you are authorized to speak on behalf of the applicant in this case?
Yes,
Yes, you're the owner.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, well, we go to item number 56. We have the in-person gentleman, and then we have Susan Solomon for the public comment online. Item 56, Ms. Dock, you present first, and then we'll go to you. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Dock?
Yes, thank you so much, Chairman and Council. Item 56 is REZ 2516. It's for the property at 103 South Hale Avenue. This request is to rezone from RS60 residential single family to PD plan development for residential single family semi-detached use. Site plan changes were required to be made between first and second reading. Those changes have been made. The plan has been certified and provided to the clerk, and I'm available if you have any question. This item is before you for second reading.
Yes, ma'am. Any questions? All right, sir. Please state your name.
Carlos Valiente.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. Do you have anything to present?
Good morning, and I want to say thank you for approving the site on the first meeting, and I'm just here for any questions you have.
Any questions for the gentleman? Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item 56? I see no one, so we have a registered speaker. Was Susan Solomon sworn in, Madam Clerk? Yes, she was on. Okay, Susan Solomon, this is your time to speak. Please unmute yourself and state your name.
Okay, my name is Susan Solomon.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, the first thing I want to say is beyond the infrastructure concerns, the owner is under no legal requirement to build the structure as presented to the board, in which party is not obligated to build what he promised. Once you rezone, once you change the zoning, he is under no legal obligation to build the house as he represented. He can also sell it once it's rezoned to somebody else. And I'd like to say that what is happening here is called spot zoning. Spot zoning in Florida faces strict judicial scrutiny and is presumed invalid unless it serves a legitimate public purpose and aligns with a comprehensive plan. Florida courts disfavor it and often invalidate it if it appears to benefit specific individuals without broader public justification. And this does not conform to plan development code criteria. Also, in addition to that, South Tampa is experiencing new pressure, a slow population influx post-COVID, escalating hurricane threats, skyrocketing insurance costs, and a stalled housing market. There is no to build a new. These homes are already for sale, and construction on vacant lots has stalled. 21st meeting, I submitted 12 signed petitions from concerned neighbors who also oppose this change. This is not the stance of a single homeowner. It is a united voice from the community. Lastly, many residents fear that this project will erode property values and limit resale opportunities for existing homeowners, which is a loss that our community cannot afford. For all these reasons, I strongly urge you to deny the proposed rezoning and protect the integrity of the neighborhood. This project is not a responsible or fitting addition to our community. The end.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The end. All right, yes, sir.
So Ms. Solomon discussed about what the potential of the redevelopment of this property. And is somebody from staff available to just a brief, because since you provide testimony that the applicant could build anything, but this is a PD, about this being site plan control?
Yes, Council LaShawn, Dock Development Coordination. So this PD request would allow for the 2 units on site, which is the single-family semi-detached. So this is what's allowed on the site until it is rezoned again to another PD or another use.
So, Ms. LaShawn, just so for the interest of the public that's listening to this, if approved, the applicant is restricted to build exactly what he's provided to staff to build and nothing more, nothing less, correct?
Correct. The use itself cannot change. You can have minor modifications made, an adjustment of a placement of the stairwell, things like that, entry. But other than that, the use of the 2 units is the only use allowed on the site. Even if ownership changes hands, if this PD is approved, that is the zoning and the permitted entitlement on the site.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? There was nobody else for public comment, sir. Do you have a rebuttal? Anything else you wish to add?
No, so thank you again. That's like what we're going to do. There's no changes.
Thank you very much, sir. Can I get a motion to close?
So second.
Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Clendenin, would you like to read this?
I move file number REZ 2516, an ordinance being rezoning property in the general vicinity of 103 South Hale Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classifications RS60 residential single family to PD plan development residential single family semi-detached, providing an effective date.
Second. We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilman Vieira. Please record your vote.
Motion carried with Carlson and Miranda voting no.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, now we go to items 59 and 60. 59, Mr. Shelby, do we read the resolution after the second public hearing, May 15th? Is that correct? So we hold up on that? Yes. Yes, but it says second public hearing to be held on May 15th. So we don't vote on anything today. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, all right. Item number 59, Ms. Susan Johnson Velez. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Susan Johnson Velez, Legal Department. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this is a first of 2 required public hearings for this development agreement, and the resolution will be read after or at the second public hearing on May 15th, and the developer's representative is here.
Okay. Mr. Hudson, come on up. Please state your name.
Good morning, Council. Tyler Hudson, 400 North Ashley Drive. For the record, we're going to dispense with our usual PowerPoint for this and hear straight from the source. Bowen Arnold with DDA Development is the developer. The architect, Tim Clemens, with Place Architecture is here, who can run through the site plan if you all wish. So with that, Bowen.
Mr. Arnold, please come up. State your name.
Thank you. Bowen Arnold, DDA Development. I've been sworn in. I think most of you know us. We're apartment developers here in town, based in Tampa, and we've done both affordable housing and we've done market rate housing. This development agreement will give us the opportunity to do 192 units, 10% of which are affordable. A couple of things on the site plan we've got, and as Tyler mentioned, Tim Clemens, the architect, is here if you need to see him. We've got a small ground floor retail commercial component. We've got perimeter sidewalks on all the right-of-ways. We have average parking of 1.4 spaces per residential unit, and we have a 20% green space requirement. We're doing 50. There are 5 grand oaks on the site, and we're preserving all of them. And we have a letter of support, which I think has been transmitted to all of you this morning from the neighborhood association.
Councilmember Hurtak.
This is gonna be a rolling record for me. Can you talk to me about your bike parking?
Tim, do you want to?
Specifically, I'm looking for protected bike parking for residents, and then I'm looking for covered, secure, well-lit parking in front of doors for your commercial customers.
For the residential parking, the site plan has a 5-level parking garage that's parallel and adjacent to the interstate, acting sort of as a buffer for not only our project, but a little bit for the neighborhood further to the south.
Your name, sir, for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Tim Clemens. I'm the architect with Place Architecture, and I have been sworn in.
Great.
So the structured parking, there's a ramp from the first to second floor that we're not parking under. So a portion of that, where once we get above 7-foot head height, will be for the interior bicycle parking. The commercial spaces along the 35th Street, because there's a couple of grand trees there, we actually have a 20-foot setback on the commercial space. So adjacent to the sidewalk, we'll have bicycle parking directly in front of the commercial space on 35th Street.
Will it be covered?
Oh, the commercial bicycle? We don't currently have that shown as covered, but we can make that covered, yes.
And again, why I keep bringing this up, EV or e-bikes and regular bikes, very expensive. It's hot, it's rainy. In Florida, if you want to encourage people to use a bike, you need to make sure that it's comfortable and welcoming. And so I would definitely would like that to be a part of your agreement.
I ride my bike to work myself. I put in between 2,000 and 3,000 miles a year on my bicycle, and I understand everything you're saying. So we did not currently have covered parking for the commercial space, but that's certainly something we can add, yes.
At this point, I don't believe it's, well, it's for the, is this related to the development order? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
It doesn't need a rezoning, I don't think, correct? No.
No, this is the first hearing. This is
Yeah,
why
it's
they're
a
doing
vote.
this. They're trying to get people's feedback.
Right.
So this is my feedback is, and again, this will be coming in front of every time people do redevelopment, especially in the urban core. We really need to focus on this.
I suspect my question is how is this related to this development agreement, and is it to require anything changing the development agreement, and is it enforceable, or is this just a representation that council cannot enforce because it's on a handshake?
I'm happy to take a stab at that, and if I'm wrong, Ms. Johnson-Velez can correct me. So, good morning again. This is a little bit unusual. Tyler Hudson, 400 North Ashley Drive. This is a development agreement that's approving something that can then get building permits. This is not a rezoning. This is a House Bill 1339 project. So there's a development agreement, there's a site plan, and there's these like affirmative statements, statements of compliance that we have to have, conditions of approval. So I think we hear you on, perhaps some type of interior, like 500 square feet. That's what we did on the prior deal. That's a change that can be made between the first and second reading of the development agreement. That's in the site plan. I don't see any legal prohibition to that. It's very minor. It's non-controversial, but we're mindful of the consideration. And because it's kind of drawn to PD standards-ish, this didn't have as many boxes to check as a PD necessarily, so some things like that wouldn't necessarily be on there, but I think we hear you, and I think that's a change we could make, subject to zoning's approval, Eric's approval between first and second reading, because there is a second reading for this.
Councilmember Condon.
Yeah, and thank you for being cooperative like that, because, we come before council and these types of projects that are transformational, it's in search of the more perfect project. So, receiving the feedback, even though, and, I think Councilman Hurtak's position is well taken, that as we're reinventing the city and investing heavily in that type of infrastructure, both the government side and the private side has to,
It's a role to play on both sides.
belly up to the table and serve it up. Yeah, thank you. So appreciate that you being cooperative on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby, Feely, Eric Cotton, you're on. Do you have anything to add?
Oh, sorry, Eric. Good morning, Council. I did just want to let you know that this is a House Bill 1339 agreement. This is similar to the agreement you worked on Fowler Avenue. which the site plan is an exhibit to the agreement. So if the modifications, it's the desire of council to have those modifications made, that could be made, and the site plan could be updated within the exhibit to come back to you for that second reading. Eric, did you want to add to that? I'm sorry. I know we both were
Please state
covering,
your
we've
name,
been
Ms.
working
Feely.
with Rebecca on this, so.
Ms. Feely, please state your name for the record. Abby Feely, please state your name for the record.
Abby Feely, Administrator of Development and Economic Opportunity.
All right,
Thank you,
Mr.
Council.
Cotton, please state your name as well before you begin.
Eric Cotton, Development Coordination. I really have nothing to add. Abby covered what I was going to say, so I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's go to public comment. Ms. Johnson-Velez.
So I just wanted to clarify, because I keep hearing second reading, and we can modify this, but they're not two readings. This is, council will adopt a resolution after the second public hearing if you decide to proceed. So it is a change that can be made, and then you would adopt the resolution. There will only be, the one action on the resolution.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Johnson-Velez, do you recommend I put this in the form of a motion, or is this just enough?
I think it would be enough to direct the developer to modify the agreement, and Mr. Hudson.
We can place on the record that we understand the concern, and when it comes back, we will show how it was depicted.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. McCaskill, you were first, or you're gonna switch? Okay, council, now it's time for public comment. Fran Tate? Okay. All right, you're gonna get in line. All right, line up against the wall. We'll start with Ms. Pointer, Ms. McCaskill, and then the gentleman, and Ms. Tate. Yes, ma'am, please state your name.
Good morning, Stephanie Pointer. I read through the documents and on base, and I didn't see the percentage of AMI that these are going to produce, 30, 50, 80, 100, 120. I'd like to see that this 10% is distributed, especially among the lower end. It's we tend to, as a society, want to clump the lower brackets together. And reality is, just like in education, if you distribute them equally around the higher as well, you're going to see more productive citizens. And we really need to pay attention to that. And I did not see that anywhere in the on-base paperwork. I didn't see it in the agreement. And I think it's extremely important that these are 100% and below, and at least distributed, even if it's 10%. If it's only 10 units, you make 1, 2, 3, you make 1 or 2 of each, and you spread them out. So that needs to be addressed. I think the bicycle idea is great, and that's my disposition on it. Thank you. Otherwise, I support it.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Tate, please state your name.
Good morning, Fran Tate, President of the Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association. I really appreciate now that our developers are coming before the Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association. We've been left out, forgotten, everything. It's an education piece for us. So far, we've had 2 developers to present to us. We haven't had this developer, but these are our boundaries, 35th, I-4, because we have a huge boundary the city assigned to us. They assigned Dr. Martin Luther King on the north boundary, North 29th Street on the west boundary. We are Columbus Drive on the south, then back up 40th Street, then Dr. Martin Luther King again. So Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association has a huge boundary that the city assigned to us so many years ago, and we would appreciate more of the developers coming before us. I don't remember the friendly neighbor notice. I could have my secretary check again, because we do have a P.O. box at the Ybor post office. I'll have her check again for the friendly neighbor notice, but we appreciate and we want to be more involved now with all of these developing buildings and let's see what we got here. Commercial, and you said 10%, was that office space, or was that 10% apartment space? It's supposed to be affordable Okay, we'll be looking into that, but, thank you so very much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, come on up, please state your name.
Thank you. My name is Corey North. I live at 3508 East 12th Avenue. This project is literally in my backyard. It takes up the entire block from 34th, 12th to 35th, which isn't a through street, it's just a little couple of 50 feet. And then there's 3 houses that the entire back strip is this project. Now, I am a YIMBY. All right, yes, in my backyard. I fully want a development in this area. I've been waiting to see what they were gonna do since the demolition, not Christmas, but the Christmas before that. It's been an eyesore. I love it. There are factors to this that I think need to be taken into account, first and foremost. Those 3 houses, I don't know about the rest of them, those 3 houses, sewer systems run into that industrial lot. So we back up into their lot, and whenever they come by and suck out the sewers, it blows up all of the plumbing in our area. Now you're talking about putting 192 more units, which by the way is twice what this little cutoff neighborhood has for units total on that line. And that worries me very, very much. So there's an infrastructure for that. The roadways, none of these roadways in the little area were cut off. 36 is a dead end, 7th is more or less a dead end because it's all just frontage for retail properties. 34th, while it's not a dead end, the other side dead ends into the I-4 connector now. So our little 34th, 36th, and 7th neighborhood is discrete. There is no in and out, there's no large roads, whatever. This area absolutely cannot handle twice as many new construction units with the people coming in and out of it. Specifically, 12th Avenue cannot handle it. Now, if the entire thing dumps onto 34th Street and all of the in and out traffic's from there, no problem. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. It's 4 lanes across. I see that as perfectly reasonable. 12th Avenue, we have more than a dozen kids that run around on these streets every single day. I've been there for 5 years. They've been there longer than me. It is not going to be safe to dump that much traffic onto these little teeny streets that don't have sidewalks. Theirs will, awesome. And again, I like what they say. So that's a thing. Drainage is another thing. We already have issues with that as well. I'll move forward quicker. And the last thing, besides the infrastructure component of this, which is going to impact this neighborhood greatly, is I don't think 10% is even remotely enough affordable housing, specifically in a neighborhood like this, and that number needs to go up drastically.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. McCaskill.
Keela McCaskill, I wasn't going to speak. I was moving closer so I can actually hear what Tyler had to say. So now that Ms. Fran Tate got up and spoke, I just wanted to share that I'm totally confident in the project and the team that is working on this. I believe it'll be set a trend for the development that's to come. We need density in the area. I do believe they'll take care of the issues that the gentleman just expressed, and I support the project. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Herzog.
I was wondering if anyone from the development could speak to some of these issues, maybe just put up a site plan to take a look?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, great.
And also the AMI percentage was brought up. Could you?
I think it's 120%.
120, you said?
120, yes. Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know what we're going to do. This is a 10-year entitlement. So part of why we wanted to do this is because we want to be able to apply for some affordable housing through Florida Housing. The tax credit program, as I think most of you know, sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 years of applications to get funded because it's so competitive. So this will give us, and we can't apply to Florida Housing without zoning in place. So this gives us zoning in place. And so it's entirely likely that this could be 100% affordable at 60% of median, but we don't know. So it just gives us flexibility, which is really important right now. But right now, the commitment is 10% and 120.
And Council, Tyler Hudson for the record, that's what the statute requires, is the 10% is affordable under Chapter 400. What Bowen just said, I want to really emphasize, because doing true affordable housing, as we call it, 80% AMI and below is incredibly complicated. and it relies on a whole myriad of external funding sources, some of which are a little in a challenging state now, to put it mildly. And the most important thing you need to get those tax credits from Tallahassee, which flow through from Washington, is Eric Houghton's signature saying that the zoning is in place. And that's where the hope for these 1339 bills is that we can more quickly get the zoning in place and avoid a cumbersome PD process. So that 10% is the minimum, but as Bowen alluded to, and given his expertise in tax credit deals, they are going to be applying for those. And if you get those, then maybe you can share what those affordability requirements.
Well, those are, the tax credit program, those are all 60% of median and below. So that's the kind of the gold standard for affordability. Again, it's a very competitive program. We have to apply multiple years. I remember years ago, the Housing Authority, for their first project over at Encore, they probably applied 5 or 6 years in a row to get funded. It's very competitive. So our goal is ultimately to apply for some affordable housing here, and this gives us that flexibility.
Councilman Vieira.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, so what I'm hearing here is that y'all are making, you need this as a preface or a platform to go to the next step, and that next step is going to include not just affordable, but the potential of workforce housing, right? Which is very, very, very important, obviously. I mean, because you're not just looking at things that are affordable under the system by which you quantify that, but also for the middle class and working class people that we can't forget about.
We agree.
So, yeah, so that's what I'm hearing, and I like what I'm hearing in that regard.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anything further? Mr. Shelby? Yeah, the site plan. You have the site plan up on the overhead? And do we take any action today, or do we just?
Not unless council wants to make a motion with regard to the discussion that you've had.
Okay. All right. So the covered bicycle parking, as Councilmember Hurtak brought up, I think is very important. The weather, the rain, the EV, there's just so many reasons as to why, you're putting a development like this, there's gonna be a lot of people. And if you're looking at the goal of, in the future, workforce and affordable housing, and should they not have a car, I think it, makes sense to add that, because it'll certainly be used. And you as a bicyclist, you get
I understand.
it. Tampa's not the easiest, and the weather.
In terms of the general site plan, the constraints, my document went away, do I? No, there it is. Okay, so in terms of the general site plan, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a structured parking garage at the north end of the property, adjacent to the interstate and parallel to the interstate, acting as a little bit of a buffer for the green space and the residential building. The residential building, the constraints that we had with the property is the 5 grand oak trees that have been previously mentioned. There is also the 35th Street right-of-way, which is vacant, doesn't have a street on it, but does have utilities on it. So there's a utility easement through that 50-foot right-of-way. We are utilizing that as the entry drive to the project. It's sort of central to the site. We've located the commercial space at the northwest corner of the property, adjacent to 36. We like that location because that was kind of the major street, and it also connected to the neighborhood to the north of the interstate, so that the commercial could serve both the neighborhood south and the neighborhood north to the north. In terms of bicycle parking specifically, the parking garage is entered from the east side off of the drive off of 12th. And the ramp, when you enter, the ramp is directly in front of you and is going up. So at the west end of the parking garage, sort of where this dashed line is where the garage is high enough that currently we have 2 parking spaces there, but we can remove those 2 parking spaces and we can provide sheltered bicycle parking for the residents under the high part of the ramp. That would mean that we would add, because we're 2 more parking spaces on the surface parking lot to the east, but that's an easy change to make. In terms of the commercial space, what we would do, I think, is we need to determine what's the appropriate number of bicycle parking spaces for 2,800 square feet. That's probably 4 or 6. So what we would do is carve that into a small portion of the commercial space. probably extend the commercial space back to not lose any effective square footage for the commercial space.
Thank you. So before Councilmember Hurtak makes that motion, yes, ma'am, Councilmember Henderson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I have a question about the commercial space. Did you say it was 2,800 square feet?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, is that an opportunity for one business or several?
It's, so if you can see the site plan again.
Yeah, I'm trying to
The
see it.
stairwell, one of the exit stairs for the residential building above comes down sort of in the middle of the space. And what that allows us is the opportunity to potentially split it into two smaller spaces. Of, you know, the average size would be 1,400 square feet, or one larger space. But that all, so it's designed in a way that allows it to be either one space or really two, but probably not realistically more than two.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the answer.
All right, thank you very much. And I think it's a great project, and I'll tell you why. When we talk about workforce and affordable housing, and I know you have future goals, and this is the first step to allow you to do that. But in East Tampa, and we heard it this morning, you know, Channelside's plan was put in place 20+ years ago when East Tampa's was, but look at what this looks like, what Channel looks like, and look at East Tampa. And this is not gentrification, because when we're talking about workforce, we're talking about affordable, we're talking about people in the neighborhood, staying in the neighborhood, but investing in that neighborhood. And it's projects like these that I think are worthy. And I think the focus should shift to these parts of the community that are forgotten. We talk about Sulphur Springs, that comes up a lot. But in East Tampa, you know, there's so much opportunity, but we don't talk about it. You know, the community talks about it, but developers and people with money need to look at this area and invest in it for everyone, for the community. So Councilmember Hurtak, would you like to make a motion just to put in the record regarding the bicycle?
Sure. I just would like to see in the second public hearing, covered secure bike parking for residents and covered accessible bike parking for commercial.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. So we have that on record. Mr. Shelby, do we take any action today, or do we even close the public hearing? Or
You close the public hearing and announce the second public hearing date,
All
and
right.
time and location.
Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Motion from Councilmember Moran, second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor? Aye. The second public hearing will be held here at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, 4233602, at Old City Hall on May 15th, 2025, at 10:30 a.m. Yes, sir. All right, item number 60, and from here, it's almost 11:30. After this item, depending on how long it takes, would council like to then break for lunch? Okay. Yes, sir.
Ross Sammons,
Mr.
Development
Sam.
Coordination. Clerk to share the Elmo screen, please. Ross Sammons, Development Coordination, presenting file number VAC 25-06. The applicant is Steve Urid. Representative is Gardner Brewer Hudson. Property address is 5001 West San Gable Court. This is a proposed vacating request to vacate a portion of West Dryad Street right-of-way located north of San Gable Court, south of San Miguel Street, east of Old Tampa Bay, and west of Dundee Street. This application was filed on February 5th, 2025. The right-of-way is currently unimproved. The right-of-way was created by subdivision plat. The existing right-of-way is approximately 2,923 square feet. Here's an aerial view of the proposed vacating request in yellow. Here is the original plat of the area requested to be vacated. Looking west from North Dundee Street. Staff has no objections to this vacating request. Easement reservations are required by Stormwater and TECO. Special conditions, natural resources must comply with Chapter 27 as regards to tree preservation and site design for any improvements placed to adjacent trees in a vacated area. That concludes my presentation. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? No? Thank you very much. And who is the representative for item 60? Mr. Hudson?
Good morning, Council. Tyler Hudson, 400 North Ashley Drive, for the record. Do you have a PowerPoint in this one? I'm sorry. Thank you, folks. All right. Thank you. I'm going to pick up where Ross left off. So this is two different views of the right-of-way. On the left, you'll see the aerial, and you'll note two important things that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. The first is that this right-of-way area does fall short of the shoreline. The land that is westward of this right-of-way area is upland that was formed by accretion, which I learned a few weeks ago is the opposite of erosion. So the shoreline's changed since 1919, and the land that is, again, outside the area of the right-of-way is owned by the Port Authority of Tampa. You'll also notice on the right, the closed captioning conceals it a little bit, but there's two stormwater inlets that are off of Dundee Street there. So let's go back to 1919. This is advertised as a unit of land called Sunset Camp. It had 96 lots ranging in price from $200 to $300, depending on location. It was out of the owned by the estate of Potter Palmer, who was a Chicago businessman. You can see here what's on the plat doesn't look exactly like reality today, but there are some similarities. For example, Dryad Street does exist. Neptune Street, which is what it runs into, is now Dundee. And the area of the right-of-way that we're talking about was the terminus of Dryad Street. It was the end of the Dryad Street to what was then the shoreline. But Dryad Street was never built past Dundee, what was called Neptune on the plat. It stopped. It was a dead end, and for a century and 6 years, it's remained a dead end, albeit one that's no longer on the shoreline. First thing I want to make very clear here, this land is privately owned. Since 1919, the folks on either side of this dead end have owned this land in fee simple. So they own the land from the middle of the earth up to some celestial point above, but this is private land. We have a title commitment from Old Republic Title Insurance Company. We have researched this exhaustively. This little stub of right-of-way we are talking about, while there is a public easement that we're going to talk about in depth, I want to make very clear that this is privately owned land that in 1919 was dedicated by the then owner for a road that hasn't been built in 106 years and is not going to be built. Next point. This land is not being used for its dedicated purpose. Certainly don't need a 50-foot wide road. This entire plat, it's interestingly like a lot of portions of South Tampa, the roadways are quite wide here. They're 50 feet wide, but on the plat and paper. But in reality, these roads are maybe 18, 19 feet. So nearly every person in this neighborhood has a nice little bonus of, I'd say, probably at a 16.5-foot portion of their lots that are technically in the right of way, but are certainly not used that way, and no one really wants to change that. Similarly here, this piece of land you can see on the right in red, that's where this terminus point of Dryad is. It's not used for right-of-way. It's not needed for right-of-way because the property owners to the north and south access their property differently. Lot 2 of Block 7, which is owned by Mr. Italiano to the north, that is accessed directly off Dundee. And then the properties to the south of the right-of-way are accessed off of Sand Gable Court, which is a plat that was created in 1988 to replat lots 1 and 2 of Block 8 of Sunset Camp plat. All right, so there's been some opinion about this, which is in your inboxes, and I believe is here. We understand why people are upset about this, want to be clear about that. We think a lot of the dissatisfaction with this proposal, though, really is based on some misconceptions about what this land is and what it is that we're seeking to do and why we are filing this. So I'm going to take those in order. First, this notion that this is on the water, not true. This right-of-way stops short of the water. And that's not something that's necessarily obvious, I want to be clear. There is a shoreline fence, and so it's understandable to think that that big piece of grass actually goes to the water. In terms of the city's ownership interest, it does not. And this is my best attempt at scaling it. It stops short of that. At minimum, there's 20 feet between the edge of this right-of-way and the shoreline at the top to the right, which is the north. It angles out, so it's even farther away there. The general public has no right to access the water here. There is no evidence that that's ever been done. If you want to see pictures of what the current shoreline looks like, I can show them to you. I was there yesterday. There is no way that anyone's going there with a kayak or a paddleboard, because not only would they be trespassing upon port property, they'd be going right after an active stormwater facility. That is not a place that's ideal for recreational waterfront uses. And you'd have to get the port's permission to do that, which they're not going to give. So I really want to put this to rest. We feel this is something that's not, in our view, really open to debate at all. There is no waterfront access here. Second is stormwater, and this is where I think there might be a misconception. We're not trying to build something here. This is not typically when we're here doing vacating, we're talking about relieving it, and we get the density and we put it in an apartment building. No one's building anything here. The ordinance that's actually before you for approval has a stormwater easement proposed over the entirety of the right-of-way. That would have to get released with the approval of stormwater, which would never happen, and by the city council, which likewise will never happen. No one's building anything here. The houses here are fine. There's no attempt to build anything. Here's the infrastructure. You got two inlets, which I showed you earlier on, sort of the sewer holes. You have a manhole that's just at the edge of the right-of-way, and that's a little bit buried. And then there's a storm discharge point that goes into Old Tampa Bay right there. That's an active stormwater facility. Stormwater got comfortable with retaining an easement. I would say that, I can't put a percentage to it, but some of the largest projects that this council has approved and aware of has vital city infrastructure that lies in an easement. All of Ybor City drains through the middle of Ybor Harbor, barely even has an easement. That was one of our conditions of approval for that project. So an easement for stormwater infrastructure is very common, and the reason we're open to getting this approved in its current state is because we have zero intent to build here. There's talk about this being a private land grab, overdevelopment. Those are legitimate concerns, not for these facts, not for this application. Third is about the park. This is not a park. Right-of-way is not a park. The nice thing about real estate law is it doesn't change much, hasn't changed in a few centuries, and you can't just expand the nature of an easement beyond the scope in which it was originally presented. This dedication of right-of-way for Dryad Street was not a park, was not a wharf, wasn't dockage. I've looked at a lot of plats, as has Ross, from this vintage, and there are places where the predecessors in interest did say that's a park. Parkland, forest, wharfage, dock. This doesn't say any of that. This is the end of Dryad Street, and it hasn't been built in 106 years, and it's not going to be built. But because the adjacent property owner, Mr. Yared, has paid to maintain it, to mow it, you can see how this does look inviting. But this is not a park. There are significant liability issues both for the city and for the adjacent property owners that arise from having this, what can be, it sounds like a bad word, but an attractive nuisance. This is not a park. It has no insurance. It has no city maintenance opportunities. This is a dead end that happens to look green, but I want to be very clear. This is absolutely not a park, and there is nothing legally that allows the easement to be expanded beyond the scope in which it was granted. The good news for these neighbors is there are parks nearby. There is Sunset Park, which is a 2-minute bike ride. Now, to be clear, it's 2.5 acres. That's mostly, a lot of that is a stormwater feature, but there is a very significant grassy area there. It's close by. The Blue Star is where we're talking about. Most importantly, the city has been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to open a brand new park, a 3-minute bike ride away at Bay to Bay. We held off on filing this application so that if this gets approved, we would hold off on fencing it. That's what we had to do, is to fence this off until this new park is opened. That's a park. That's what a park looks like for these folks who absolutely deserve to have parks, like everywhere else. And again, from what I've heard from the city, it's going to open sometime in the next couple months. Considerable resources went into it. There's another view of it. That's a park. It's got fence. It's maintained. It's got sidewalks. That's what a park looks like. Park does not look like the dead end of a road. That's 106 years in the not making. These have always been heavily scrutinized vacating applications. This has had media attention going back a couple of years. This was like a renegade dog park. I think this council has taken a pretty, scrutinizes these vacating requests pretty heavily, and I think that that's been translated in staff's treatment of them. We don't have a single objection. A lot of bites at the apple with these vacatings. A lot of people get to comment, and there wasn't a single objection. Now, you're going to hear in opposition some of the probably rebuttals to the things that I tried to to preempt, but when it comes down to it, this is a road, this is a private piece of land that was dedicated to, where an easement was given to the city for a singular purpose, to finish Dryad Street. That was not done for 106 years. It is in the public interest first to protect private property rights. That might not always be in the public favor, but that is in the public interest to preserve private property rights, and this is private property. Second, it's in the public interest to minimize liability risks for the city and for the liability risks that can emanate to adjacent owners from having this just amorphous, unclear void in the middle of a neighborhood. Even if it is a nice place to let your dog go to the restroom or let kids throw a ball, we get that. But you gotta balance that against the rights that the property owner has of having a accidental park 5 feet from their home when they're raising 2 small children. The property owner has rights too. And finally, there are no objections to this request. The infrastructure that the city has here is not imperiled in any way and arguably would be better protected by being fenced rather than an open dead-end field. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I know there's some comment, but I appreciate your time and consideration of this request. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So then, if nothing's gonna be built on it, what is the next step? To fence it in and close it off, or to leave it wide open?
The desire would be to fence it. We don't want, I mean, this has been open for quite some time. We don't want the general public to have access to this because the only circumstance in which the general public is intended to have access to this is if it's a road. And it's not a road, and it's not gonna be a road. This council is not gonna support, and if you wanna see this room get really full, propose a 50-foot road in the middle of this. That's what this was originally intended to be. But yeah, there's no structure proposed. We'd have to get, I think we'd probably get a permit for the fence, given the stormwater infrastructure and the size, so there would be some city oversight of that. But yeah, we're not building anything. We're not putting a house on it. That is absolutely not happening. It's impossible. The stormwater infrastructure is already there, and it's necessary.
Thank you very much. Mr. Malloy, are you with Mr. Hudson, or are you the opposite side?
He's the other side.
Okay, all right, so, yes, sir.
So my concern would be a definition of a fence. Because of the critical nature of this, this being potentially, as we saw with Hurricane Helene flooding, where's the water gonna go?
Yeah.
Clearly, this is an area that probably water flows through to get to the bay.
Yeah, with I mean, this is in the velocity zone, I believe. So I mean, it's going to have to go. It's going to have to get commented on by numerous city agencies. And if the nature of that fence is something that
yeah, because I mean, how would if we approve this, it would be out of our hands, and then they put up an impermeable wall.
Well, you could put conditions that that any fence erected thereon has to be within the stormwater easement. Stormwater. Must consent to the construction of any improvements thereon. I think that language might already be in there, but that's.
I have doubts in stormwater because they already said no objection. So I've got doubts with stormwater.
They have no objection to the city's interest in this being a road being released. The city doesn't have no objections to any possible fence that could be constructed thereon. We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're not there. What we are asking for is to trade an easement for a road, which will never get built, because it hasn't been built in the last 106 years, for an easement tailored to what's actually there, which is stormwater infrastructure. That's what the improvement of this is. If incidentally, folks who have grown accustomed to using this grass as if it were a public park on private property, that is gonna be interrupted, and there's people who aren't gonna be happy about that. That's a dispute, as it were, that this council, that you have to resolve, but in our view, it is not a close call. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Malloy, you will then be, just for procedural purposes, just part of public comment, 3 minutes?
Yes, unless council decides otherwise, if there's a request, but no, it's usually 3 minutes at this point.
We're now at public comment. Mr. Malloy, you'll have 3 minutes like everybody else in the room, and then we'll go to rebuttal. Yes, sir. Please say your name.
Good morning, Council. William Malloy, 325 South Boulevard. I'm speaking generally for the folks who signed the petition in opposition here. It should be in all your inboxes. There's 53 signatures on it. I hope you had a chance to consider that. It's not insignificant. There's also some individuals that don't belong to the HOA that have chimed in, signed that as well. I believe some of them are here to speak. I'd like to say, just for my own credibility here, full disclosure, I'm a resident of Spanish Town Creek, other side of the peninsula. If I was a neighborhood, if this was happening in my neighborhood, I'd be here as a citizen and saying exactly what I am. If this were private property up for development, I wouldn't be here. But this is, despite the, I'm going to say, the wordsmithing here, the city has an interest in this property. There's no doubt about that. Who owns fee to it, I'm not able to speak to at this point. I'd just like to spin through my client's concerns and what's been presented to me in the time I've had to review this. The justification for this and what was provided to the public was the applicant has security concerns. And I'm struggling, I trust my colleague very much, but I'm struggling to find the nexus between security concerns and give me control of this dirt. Security concerns can be addressed in many different ways. And I'd ask for substantiation of these security concerns. Is TPD involved in this? Is code enforcement? Has this been brought to nuisance and abatement? Is there anything that validates this assertion that it's a security problem? Again, I struggle to find that nexus, but moving on, we understand and we very much appreciate that TECO and Stormwater have retained or asked to retain permanent easements over this property. Permanent is not perpetual, and those easements can be vacated or otherwise nullified. Again, it would take some permissions and an ask, but it can happen. This dirt is priceless for the neighborhood and for the city. This neighborhood flooded badly last fall, and I'm told, I can't substantiate this myself, that 30% of the neighborhood, plus or minus, is still displaced in some way or another. You can't give up this direct avenue, whether it touches the water or the Port Authority or not, to Old Tampa Bay and have the chance that any kind of infrastructure for stormwater is compromised here. You have to keep control of this piece. I understand, and I have no reason to believe otherwise, that they don't intend to build here, but you can see in my client's mind, in my mind, and you've seen it before, the instant vision here is an ADU popping up if this is approved. Finally, if I can have 10 more seconds.
You have 30 seconds, sir.
The association is more than willing to work with the applicant to address security concerns, to play nice, install lighting, fencing, cooperate in any way possible. I've got letters to that effect. I think they're in your inbox as well. And I think that's tremendous. This is not an instance of not in my backyard, as you've heard before. They'd like to help. They want to keep this green and open. They just want to have the city retain its stewardship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, next speaker. And this is the time for public comment, so if you want to come up and speak, line up against the wall, and we'll start going one by one. Yes, sir, please state your name.
Hi, my name is Michael Rich. I'm a neighbor in this community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I really appreciate it. To voice my opposition to the request to vacate this right away in North Dundee Street. Hopefully you also got a chance to look at the petition, which we now have 45 different households in Sunset Park that oppose this measure. As I said, my name is Michael Rich. I live in this neighborhood on West Dryad Street, less than 1 block away from the right-of-way in question, and my primary interest relies in preserving this important green space for the community. I've lived in West Dryad Street for almost 12 years. My wife and I have 2 young children, ages 6 and 2. We use this open space regularly to kick a soccer ball around, throw a ball, walk our Boston Terrier, and in fact, many of the families in this neighborhood use this green space as a place where children can play and where residents can enjoy the outdoors. We know it's not a park. We're not holding organized sports here or having parties here, but in our increasingly urban environment, such accessible green space is essential for the well-being and the overall quality of life for our community, and to be ashamed to take it away. I'll add that the new park that the attorney showed moments ago is more than a half a mile away. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it's not realistic for me to walk them or make them ride their little tricycles half a mile to get to a park, which is littered with palm trees. Now, as Mr. Malloy said, I also have concerns about fencing in this piece of land for stormwater purposes, but I'll skip that because he already addressed it. There was some back and forth between the city and the applicant. I know it says there's no opposition, but there clearly was some back and forth and some level of concern. Regarding private access, I'm not privy to what the applicant's true intentions are. I know they said that they were going to fence this in and keep anyone from using it, but my understanding is that vacating the right-of-way would lead to expanded land access for both neighbors that are adjacent to the piece of property, and it would eliminate public access for anyone else. Frankly, this just did not seem right. I'm also frustrated by the fact that some of the ownership documents that were posted today were not posted to the city site, at least not in the last 3 days. And I've gone through the ownership documents. The one in particular showing Mr. Italiano having ownership was not on there, at least in the prior to the last 2 days, which is extremely frustrating. I'm also very frustrated that this application was posted when approximately 25% of the people in this neighborhood are displaced following the storms of last year. Regarding safety, The vague comments on the application just cite quote-unquote safety concerns, but the truth is, as it stands today, this green space poses no safety threat to the neighborhood, and I can think of no legitimate reasons why it should be shut off. So in closing, I believe the significant benefits this right-of-way provides to the community, particularly the green space, outweigh the desire for private expansion or just plain fencing it off, which I just don't get. And I urge the Tampa City Council to prioritize the public good and deny this request to vacate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Please state your name.
Hello and good morning. My name is Natalie Reinhart, and I also live in Sunset Park. I was also raised in Sunset Park, so this park to me has a very special place in my heart. And I'd actually like to correct myself. It is a green space. I live there with my husband and my 2 sons. We live right around the corner, and we frequently walk by this green space with our dog multiple times a day. It's something beautiful to look at, and we've always really admired this area. So if a fence were to be created along Dundee Street, I think not only would it be an eyesore for a whole community, but it would be a reduction of green area for our children to grow up with. And I think that Tampa has always done a really good job of making sure that we have ample parks and green spaces to enjoy. So taking this away is of absolutely no resource to our entire community. It's something that I grew up walking by as a child, and I'd love to afford that opportunity to my children as well. And also, as somebody who has had significant damage to our home and our garage from the storms last year, we're still dealing with that fallout 7 months later. So creating any type of fencing along Dundee Street, we don't know what that could implicate for oncoming storms in the next couple years. What type of fence that would be, if it would create a collection of debris along that fence line that would not let waters go through. I can't even imagine, and it makes me feel sick to even imagine if that would make stormwater concerns an even greater concern for oncoming years. So I just wanted to make sure to have my voice heard on this issue. This green space is really important to our community that we don't have a lot of green spaces in. And I just really, really urge you to consider our staunch opposition to this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Please state your name. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Yes. No, that's not standing up. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi.
Please state your name.
Hi, Leslie Farrell. I live a few blocks away from the green space, and it's just I think it's an important area to have, just to, she was saying, to have more spaces for nature. When I moved there about 12 years ago, there were more public access places, and now they seem to have been taken away. So it's really a nice space, even though it's like a small lot, but it's really nice, especially for younger kids, because it's a protected kind of area for them to play ball and those kinds of things, as opposed to, a bigger park. And it's the only little green space we have in this area. When my grandson visits, I want to be able to take him there and just, kick the ball around. A lot of the houses there, they're building these big houses, and they have very small yards. So I think as these homes that have been damaged by the hurricanes are rebuilt too, there's going to be more need for that as well. And a lot of our streets don't have sidewalks, so it's a nice place also to talk to neighbors. I've met a lot of neighbors over there that I would not have even known, so it's really great for the community. Yeah, so I just think it's important to have that little area, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Come on up. Please state your name.
My name is Michael Roby, and I've been sworn in. But if you don't mind, I'm just going to take the 3 minutes to read my email that I submitted to the city of Tampa.
Go ahead.
Council Chair and members, I have lived in Sunset Park for 17 years, raising my family on this quiet street and daily celebrating the sunsets that give our neighborhood its name. This sliver of city right-of-way you are being asked to abandon is the last remaining public green space we have in our corner of South Tampa that is continuously being overdeveloped. We are asking you to respectfully deny the VAC 25 a lot of zeros and 6. Why this parcel matters, community heart. Each evening, dozens of our neighbors walk dogs, push strollers, and let the children enjoy this little safe patch of grass. During heavy storms, as we've known in this particular situation, a lot of homes, including mine, were affected by Helene with the flooding. I just moved back in January. As we now more and more, and I'm going to go off the document here, but as we now go more and more into the process of overdeveloping South Tampa as it is, especially Sunset Park. When I came here originally 17 years ago from Georgia, it was the character that drew me into the neighborhood, the oak trees, the character of not one big white box after one big white box. And I get it, property taxes are a heck of a deal. But with that being said, you and I and everybody in this room both knows that it's not going to stop with a fence. It's not going to. This guy next to it, we already know. But I've lived there 17 years, and we use this green space as a community and as a neighborhood to just simply have this space and to have a view of the sunset that's blocked out from everything else as it is. It is a neighborhood. I challenge anyone on this council, please come around our area 5:30, 6 o'clock at night and look at the family members walking the neighborhood and walking the street. This little piece of green space is all we have left. So with that being said, the test in Chapter 27 for a vacation that is public will not be materially injured. Losing our only green space, our sunset view, and a modest flood buffer is not only a minor injury, it's permanent. Once this is done, there is no taking it back, right? We don't know what kind of fence, we don't know what they'll do, and that's just it, right? This is the last sliver of hope we have. So with that being said, I thank you for your consideration, and I thank you for allowing us to speak on behalf of this, and just hopefully we get a no on voting for this. But thank you so much, council and chair.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. Anybody else? If not, Stephanie Pointer will be our last speaker, and then we'll go to rebuttal. Yes, ma'am, please state your name.
Stephanie Pointer. We almost never have this many folks show up for a vacation. Almost never. But, this is taking stormwater in. Why are we giving away city property? Why should we give it away?
Let's get the overhead.
Yeah, go ahead and put that up there, but, seriously, why would we give this away? There's no reason to give it away, except for somebody wants to be greedy. I don't know who it is. I have no idea who the applicant is. I really don't care, to be honest with you. But if this is city property, and we've got 2 stormwater drains and the sewer drain, and we all know that there's not enough green space in the world anymore in South Tampa. And we've got all these neighbors. And guess what? This piece of property right here, guess who it belongs to? All of the people who are sitting here. It doesn't belong to one person. It belongs to the whole city of Tampa. It belongs to the entire city. We're not talking about an alleyway. As a matter of fact, I bet you most of the neighbors didn't know that that was a city property, that they could go on there and sit down if they wanted to, or take a nap if they wanted to. So now we're sitting here, and you've got plenty of neighbors who've shown up. You have plenty of neighbors. And I'm sorry, but this area of town, why would we give away anything? Why would we give it away? How much is it worth? How much does it enhance that personal property? Must be a lot, because they paid the $573. Is that how much it is still? It's $570. They're going to get this lot for $573. Don't do it. This belongs to the citizens of Tampa. You should not be giving it away for $573. And Mr. Rock, this guy right here just confirmed I'm right. It's still $573 that he's paying for this huge lot in Sunset Park.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? I know I see you. Anybody else that is thinking about considering speaking? Okay, Carol Ann Bennett, you're the last speaker before we go to rebuttal. Yes, ma'am, please state your name.
Short and sweet. My name is Carol Ann Bennett. We can't figure out where to plant live oaks. Oh, I just found a spot. Beautiful. Plant a live oak. I bet the neighbors would actually pay for a beautiful bench. Thank you.
All right, that's it for public comment. Rebuttal, Mr. Hudson, go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Good morning. Tyler Hudson, 400 North Ashley Drive. A lot of ideas about how to use someone else's property. As I said at the beginning, and it has been uncontested, this is private property. While 106 years ago, they gave an easement if a road was ever built, it wasn't. It won't. This is private property. If I give you a dictionary and I say, you can have this dictionary as long as you need it, and then 10 years later I come to your house and the door's open, the dictionary is a doorstop. So, oh, well, you're done with the dictionary? Well, no, it's a doorstop, you say. It's like, well, that's not what you're using it for. I gave it to you to be a dictionary. Now you're using it as a doorstop. This isn't a giveaway. This is returning what's been owned for 106 years because it's not being used by the city in the only manner in which it was dedicated, to be right away. There's two sets of people that can use this land, the owners and the general public when it's right away. It's not right away. It is not right away. And we get that, you know, it hurts to lose things, even if they didn't belong to you in the first place. We understand why people who have grown accustomed to using this, even in a manner that's I won't say inappropriate if anyone did anything wrong, but even if, you know, folks have been accustomed to using it in a manner not as intended, that doesn't make it right. And I get that doesn't make the sting any less when it gets taken away. But someone lives here. These folk, I mean, a lot of the folks who use this have all the benefits of using this property, but none of the burdens. I mean, the adjacent property owner is raising two small kids. They got an 8-week-old kid. I mean, that's why this is getting filed. The house wasn't used for a long time. Got a 2-year-old and an 8-week-old, like 5 feet from what's turned into a community park on private land. That's not right. And no amount of opposition or, you know, custom to the use changes that. It's not right. This is about property rights, and that does still matter. Yeah, I was a philosophy major, and, you know, there's this idea that justice is getting what you're due. This neighborhood has a brand new park, and maybe it's not as close as it could be. Maybe it's not a dead end in the middle of a neighborhood, but it's a beautiful park. If y'all want to buy the land, the city can make an offer to buy the land from the owners. If you want to put even more parks in this area, in a city that y'all know has a lot of demand for parks around the city, that's one outcome. You guys can build a road, you can buy the land, or you can allow this land to go back to its original owner, because you're using the dictionary as a doorstop. You're not using this land as a road, and you're not going to. So with that, one of the adjacent property owners would like to share a couple words. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir, please state your name.
Thank you. Yes, Steve Yared. I live at 5005 San Gable Court. And first, let me thank you for your considerate time in looking at this issue. I want to dispel certain notions that have been said about them. I guess I'm them. With regard to greed, I'll stand on my reputation. I don't dispute what the lady said about this $500 and some. All I know is I've lived in Sunset Park since 1966. I have mowed that yard, that grass, that lot, which is going to continue to be a lot, and hopefully put some irrigation and get some good grass in there, since, I guess, about 38 years, something like that. People talk very easily about safety concerns. Well, you can put up signs. Let me be very clear, and I think Councilman Miranda knows me quite well. I've now become a grandfather. I've got a 3-year-old grandson and a 7-week-old granddaughter. There's about that high a concrete wall separating my son's house and his family from that lot. I don't know where these people go at night, but I can tell you at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, there's not going to be a sign that's going to alleviate my security concerns. Had that lot been used by anybody, I hope I'm under oath, I've never seen a kayaker, I've never seen a fisherman. All I've seen is people using that for dog, to do the business of dogs. Do kids pass ball there? I hope so. That's why I urge the city to build that park down by West Shore and Dundee. I pleaded with the city. We needed that park. That park, it's a half a mile away? It's 4 blocks away, and if you've got any stamina at all, you can make that long walk and enter a beautiful park that's secure and safe. I don't want anything for nothing, and that's what it seems like some people want to make this out to be. I want security and peace of mind over a lot that is of no use to anybody except our security and our enjoyment, and we're not going to build a high-rise there. You have my word on that. I'd appreciate any concern or any questions you may have. I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that concludes the hearing. Are there any questions from any council members? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question for our attorney, Mr. Whittington. Yes. Can you give me the distinction between an easement and a right-of-way?
Yes, ma'am. Ron Whittington, Legal Department. So a right-of-way is like a super easement. It can be used for multiple purposes such as mobility and utilities. An easement is much more limited to a specific purpose for which it has given the easement for, such as a water easement or a stormwater easement, but it's just limited to that purpose. A right-of-way can be used for multiple purposes, but not a park. It's not intended to be used as a park.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Yes, sir, Councilman Clinton.
I mean, so I've got our attorney distributed a memo from a senior assistant city attorney dated April 5th, 2011, and talking and referencing that super easement you just spoke of. And one of the clarifications was that it's a super easement and used for a variety of public purposes, and then it uses different examples. And then it says, or other similar uses for the public welfare. I mean, pooping dogs and throwing a baseball seems like would fit within that category.
Again, a right-of-way is mostly intended for mobility purposes, for sidewalk, both.
That's not what this says.
What?
And this is from city staff. Do you have that?
I know the memo you're talking about. I do have that, and I've reviewed that.
That was April 5th, 2011.
No, I have it. I definitely have it. Bear with me.
First paragraph.
So again, when it says for other similar uses for the public welfare, I mean, what I have seen in my experience is that parks are very specifically identified for that specific purpose. You can't really, play in a park when it's supposed to be a right-of-way.
I think we can throw out the word park, because I don't think anybody's talking about park here. We're talking about public uses.
Green space then?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in right-of-way, you do have medians, so I mean, would you consider that a green space? Possibly. But again, it's not, a right-of-way is not really intended for recreational use. It's used for mobility and utilities.
Well, what would you define public welfare?
But I did not write this memo, so I cannot necessarily
Well, I mean,
make her argument for
I think it's
her.
a complexity
It is a
because
good memo.
Yeah, okay, very good. Okay, thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
tell you, that was a good answer you gave.
Yeah.
I just want to clear up my mind. I mean, it's just, you have a piece of property that is owned by someone other than the city, am I correct?
Yes,
And then we have a right-of-way through that piece of property, am I correct?
yes.
And how big is that right-of-way, and how much land is on both sides of that right-of-way?
Well, the right-of-way is typically delineated by the plat, and it shows the dimensions of the right-of-way, the width and the length and where it's supposed to be positioned.
But I don't think I have the plan. I don't know if any other council member.
Yes, that was
Put it
shown
up.
to you earlier.
I just want to see, I mean,
The right-of-way is 50 feet, right there.
I only can remember one item that we did back in the 70s or 80s, I forget. Now, I wasn't here in the 80s and early 90s. And it was a right-of-way that was used, and they came to an agreement, the people who owned the land, but under that ownership, there was a big sewer line that ran across the property. Unbeknownst to anyone, they gave him a permit to build, and he built. And then they realized that under that line was a city big thing. So you have a building that's built on his property, but under the center of that building was a right-of-way for the city. And I'm not gonna go into specifics because I don't wanna start another debate. How that was solved was that the owner of the property said at any time, agreed with the city, that at any time that there was a blockage there, and I'm not using that to find this case, but things do happen that are under the control of no one. And that right-of-way was given, and the owner agreed to any time that the city had to go and do any work on that line, at that time, he would be responsible for opening and closing the line if the city did the work. To stop whatever was done, the drainage or whatever happened, or the pipe broke or whatever. This is a little different. This is a piece of property that has been used or not been used by the neighborhoods, and I appreciate that. I can tell by the number of signatures that I got. But the property is not owned by the city totally, only the right-of-way, am I correct?
The city has a right-of-way interest, which is what I said is a super easement. We do not own the underlying fee.
You do not own the top of it, you just have a right-of-way under it.
We have the right-of-way interest. Someone else owns the fee.
Right.
Now, I
The
can't
city
make a
doesn't own
representation as to
anything
who
other than
actually
it has
owns
the
the
right for the
fee,
right-of-way.
because that's not the city's position. I'm sorry?
The city doesn't own any part of that property.
And sometimes they do own the underlying fee just because they get a deed, but most cases, we do not own the underlying fee. We just have a right-of-way interest on top of the fee, which is more
Well, do we
doesn't
have,
specifically mean on
do
top,
we
because
own it or not?
pardon me?
Do we own that land or not?
We do not own it in fee, no, sir. We have it,
Not 1 inch of it.
I have no information to indicate that at all. In fact, Mr. Hudson has mentioned that he has title work on this, and it clearly establishes that the city does not have any fee simple interest in this. I'm not sure if I'm not answering your question right, or.
Councilman Clendon.
I mean, I think for clarification, I think what we're talking about is, the public has a right-of-way, which is access, and like I say, a super easement for the entire, including the grass.
Right.
I mean, above and below ground, they have the utility easements below the ground, and they have, the public has, via the city of Tampa, has an interest to have a right-of-way to be able to utilize this property for public purpose as it presently stands, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I think that's the issue. And because the public has used this, isn't there something about public use for so many years also, as far as, like, it becomes, that interest of that property becomes kind of locked in because the property's been used in such a way for so many decades and so many years?
Unless, go ahead.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is absolutely no legal precedent for the notion that no matter how long that decades of use inconsistent with that easement changes the nature of it. Real estate law does not change very much. That is a bedrock component of real estate common law. You might be referring to the notion of adverse possession,
Yes, that's what
which is sort of the idea of squatters' rights. Fairly useless piece of law school trivia. If you ask me, you don't really see it very often, but I mean, that requires paying property taxes, having a quote, open and notorious possession. None of these people have been paying property taxes on it. So there's absolutely.
That's a good question. So for the applicant of this, what is the tax structure, educate me because I'm not familiar with it.
Sure.
What is the tax structure for this particular piece of parcel that we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't believe it's taxed at all. So what's going to happen is if this council approves the vacating, automatically that right-of-way is cut in half into a northern hemisphere and a southern hemisphere, each bearing 25 feet of width. They'll automatically get joined into the lots that are adjacent. And so that would, in January 1st of 2026, change the square footage of the parcels, and then it would be on the rolls.
So the interest that your applicant has on this is that, so he has not been paying taxes on it. So what historically what's happened up until today is the applicant's been required to maintain the property like we do alleys and such first.
That's right. He's been maintaining it for almost 4 decades.
But not paying property taxes on it. So
No, he has been bearing the burden of maintenance and enormous risk of liability, and that's just been.
And how much is dirt? I mean, I loved what the homeowner association attorney said, that dirt is priceless, and especially in this particular neighborhood. What is the cost of dirt in this neighborhood? I mean, it's got to be an expensive piece of property.
It's expensive. I mean, look, there's a lot of really tragic change that's happening in this neighborhood and a lot of neighborhoods around Tampa, right? Because of the storms. I'm not sure that's something. But again, if you're going in the direction of that, there's compensation due. This is private land. This is private land. So imposing some type of cost on the property owner to get their land back, to free them of a vestigial easement no one uses, that's an illegal exaction. If the city owned fee simple to the land, totally different story. Then it's appraisal time, and that's something this council has been very vigilant about in different circumstances, i.e. where the city owns the land. City does not own this land. The city does have a right as essentially a trustee of the general public to construct a road here, to construct right-of-way here. That's what this is, the terminus of Dryad Street, and I do not think you are going to find a judge that sees it any other way. If this was going to be a park or a green space, they had the word park in 1919, and it would have been so labeled, just like docks were labeled in the 1900s, just like wharfs were labeled in the 1880s. It doesn't say that. This is the end of the road, and it's been like that for 106 years, and we need to bring this to a close. That's what we want to do, and that's why we're here.
All right, just Councilman Marion.
In any way, sir, is this land buildable in any way?
Not because of the stormwater easement. I mean,
Just
the
for
stormwater.
You cannot encroach from either side to build something?
No, and if you, did I give that back to you? I'll show you the easement terms so you can see. We ought to get mobility's permission to do any, quote, temporary or permanent structure. we're not doing that. I mean, this is not quasi judicial, but I swore in earlier. I mean, there's not been a single word or breath exchange about putting a structure here. No one wants to put a structure here. We want to put a fence up because it's private land, and we do not want this to be a community gathering space. I realize that's unpopular with the community, but I'm not going to be obtuse with you. We don't want just the community to use this land because it's private and they're not using it as a right-of-way. If there's any suggestions on language here, if it's council's pleasure, we're happy to entertain that. I mean, you're not going to use this land. It will be encumbered. And just to be clear, this is an easement not just over the gravity main that empties out below Dundee Street into Old Tampa Bay. It's over the whole land.
So then what you're saying, you can't even build a wall across the front of it, even though the line's under you?
No, you can't build any, no permanent or temporary structures.
So then the land doesn't change at all, it just stays the way it is?
Stays the way it is. There's just a fence that's going to be installed in some way that they're going to have to consent to. I mean, a fence is a permanent or temporary structure. If it's council's pleasure, we could add fence too, but the city's going to have to look at this. I mean, the story that you shared about someone building a house over stormwater easement, like that's wild. That's incomprehensible in this day and age. That would get caught quite quick. I mean, this is a gravity main. This isn't like a little 3-inch water pipe.
Public comment is over, sir. You can't respond. Thank you. He's the
I'm
petitioner.
just trying to come
one
to
of
a
those
remedy on
questions,
these
please?
things.
Yes,
This is
sir.
a very difficult case. I've never heard one like this.
It's odd.
Is there something that can be worked out between yourself, your client, and the city that it remains the same? They can do what they want and we'll mow and clean the place?
Council, I think that's sort of run its course. This has been going on for some time.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to
that's.
find a remedy.
No, I appreciate it. And look, we don't like to come here. I don't like to come here. I don't think my clients like to come here and be, adverse to your neighbors. No one likes that. Unfortunately, you're seeing more of that because y'all have the role of arbitrating private property rights and mediating that against sort of what the community wants as a whole. And that's hard, I mean, especially in a city that's growing. But our position is really based on what the law says. And the law says this is private land. It is subject to an easement that the city is not using. And we are willing to essentially exchange that easement for right-of-way, which the city is not using, for an easement for stormwater, which the city absolutely does need. And we have no qualm with that. But we do not want this to be a community park because it is private property. And I think that's an unreasonable request to place upon any citizen of Tampa and their private property.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything further, Councilman Carlson?
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Ron Wigington, Legal Department. So I believe it was Mr. Councilman Miranda that was asking about what can be built there. As you can see on the Elmo, that the ordinance provides that no permanent or temporary structures other than pavement and curbing shall be allowed to be constructed on or over or under the vacated right-of-way, and no landscaping other than grass or small shrubbery shall be allowed to be planted within the vacated right-of-way without the express written consent of the city's mobility department director. So if and when they decide to request the installation of a fence, they will need to go to the director of the stormwater department, or division rather, and get their written permission. That doesn't, of course, have anything to do with whether they are going to be required to have a permit or not, but the director is going to make sure that there is ample opportunity and access to the easement area, both in times of emergency or regular maintenance. And so there will be probably a gate there, could be a lockbox, there could be a lot of things that the director would consider to make sure that this is open access for our staff to maintain the easement area, as far as our facilities are located in that area.
Councilmember Carlson and Clendenin and Hurtak.
I want to follow up on your comments about title. It seems, or isn't it unusual that that the city would not be able to confirm officially who has title of a property? And I know you said the applicant has put up title work, but if the city doesn't confirm, what legal authority does confirm who has, if there's some dispute after we make this decision, who would be the final word on who has title?
So ultimately, it would be a court of law that would make that determination as to who owns the underlying fee. It possibly could be the property appraiser's office, but I can't confirm or be sure of that.
The city never confirms.
The city is not in a position to make that determination. It becomes, in essence, a private property matter that is up to them to resolve legally. Again, with this ordinance, we're not touching the underlying fee. So whatever that is today will be the same way tomorrow.
If I could say something real quick, section, I think, 2 of this easement says that if the city does own the title, then we gotta buy it. So that's always in there. It's always set up that way. I'm 100% confident we own it, but there is a backstop in there. It's not like the approval of this changes the title. It relinquishes an easement that we all aren't using. So, but the ordinance, does address that.
Councilmember Hurtak.
Okay, Mr. Wigington, what does it take to vacate stormwater? So say just any property, there's a stormwater,
Easement?
yeah, on it, but somebody files to vacate the stormwater.
Yes, so they would go through our Development and Growth Management Department and file an application to release the easement. You can release the entire easement, or you can release a portion of the easement, but only if you can establish that easement is no longer being used today, and there will be no future need for that easement.
But that is solely administrative.
No, it goes before you, typically on your consent agenda. You'll see a release of easements. You'll probably have seen
Yeah.
those many times.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Clinton, did you want to make a motion to close?
Yeah.
Wait, Mr. Shelby.
If there are no other questions, I'd ask that if Mr. Hudson has any final comments, because there wasn't more testimony taken, he had been addressing it, but if you want to make any closing statements, please do so now.
Tyler Hudson, 400 North Ashley Drive. Hopefully we're not past the point of humor. This is the end of the road. We have nothing more to say. We appreciate your patience and patient consideration. Thanks.
A motion to close the for the purpose of discussion about the kind of observations.
Second. Motion and a second from Councilman Vieira to close. All in favor?
Aye.
And then Councilman Clinton, go ahead.
Yeah, this was a tough one because I'm a big property rights guy, but I find that that the public interest and especially given in light of this memorandum that was issued by our senior assistant city attorney on April 5th, 2011, on the review of applicants for vacation of right-of-way, is pretty compelling. And again, looking at one, the testimony that the public's provided about the public use and the definitions of what the right-of-way is for public use. I mean, it seems clear that the public is using this property in accordance with what the intent of a right-of-way is. And in this memo, if y'all haven't read it, it says City Council should consider the following criteria when deciding upon an application to vacate a right-of-way based on the reports and evidence presented at the public hearing. Is it in the interest of the general welfare to vacate the subject street or alley? I think that's pretty interesting. And also, like I said earlier in our conversations, that this is considered a super easement, and that a super easement is one of the uses is public welfare. And I think it was clearly established in the testimony by the folks that came before us today that public welfare is an interest in this property, which is completely aligned with what the purpose of a right-of-way is. I'm trying to understand, again, I'm a big personal property guy. I mean, I do believe that there's personal property rights, but I'm not also seeing the interest. There was testimony about public safety and all, and I'm not getting it. I mean, if they could secure their own property and we've got the police department, if there was evidence that there was something there, I know we've made exceptions for properties on fence heights and stuff in the past, but I don't think there was any competent, substantial evidence presented today about public safety concerns. But yeah, so I'm gonna vote against this vacation for that purpose, because I believe that the opposition and the folks from the neighborhood made a compelling case to vote against it. Thank you.
Councilman Vieira.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so it's funny, a lot of times in cases, I always say that there's, black and white, and then there's gray, the things in the middle. On this, I'll be honest, Councilman Clendenin, I see it a different way, which is that I listen to the public and I understand a lot of the issues coming, but ultimately the relief proposed to the property owners, which is more incremental in nature, I don't think does enough to overcome the very reasonable complaints that we're seeing here with regards to privacy loss, liability issues, security issues, and so forth. This is one that I think for the property owner hits far too close to home. The idea that this is a park, obviously I don't think anyone's proposing that in terms of this being seen as a park, but even a green space of public benefit, I respectfully don't see that, given the detriment suffered by the property owner ultimately. So for me, when we talk about, well, we can have incremental measures that will help the property owner with their concerns, I don't see anything that can be done incrementally to overcome the very legitimate and reasonable complaints of the property owner here. So, that's how I'll be proposing it here today.
Wait, Councilman Miranda?
Yeah, one other thing, I would assume, whichever way this goes, that the property owner still has the right to put a wall in front of the ingress, no? So it stays the way it is?
We close the public hearing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Miranda.
No, I don't want to open the hearing again.
Okay. All right, Councilman Condon.
So I kind of deferred because Councilman Vera, of course, is an attorney, and I am not. So I was querying about your, so the statement of like the public safety issue, I didn't hear anything about privacy, but public safety. Other than the statement of the applicant that he had concerns, there wasn't any really evidence suggesting that there was anything there, other than just a statement that he's just concerned that people are standing next to his property.
Yeah, and again, in risk management and liability, there's always the possibility that something could happen with so many people going near their home. I do think that is a reasonable concern, right? There is a reasonable concern for
Is it only reasonable concern because it's South Tampa, not East Tampa?
No.
Yeah. It just definitely does seem like a South Tampa thing,
No.
I don't want to lay next to my property.
When you're dealing with, I mean, look, my votes, if you want to take a look at tons of development proposals that have come before city council, I won't cite them because some of them are in litigation. I go according to what I think the law is.
Well, that's why I was being respectful because you're an attorney, so
I'm not a land use attorney, though.
You clicked that in, okay.
Yeah, I'm not a land use attorney at all. But again, in fact, there have been a lot of 6-1 votes where I do things that South Tampa probably doesn't like, because as I always tell people, I don't write political, or strike that, I don't write checks that I think are gonna bounce later when taken into circuit court through appeal. So that's always been my position. It's not because it's South Tampa.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If I can, just for the sake of council reminding you that this is a legislative matter, and it is not quasi-judicial. It is a fairly debatable standard, and it does not require a finding of competent and substantial evidence in a case.
As soon as I said that, I realized that.
Wanted to make sure that
I
just wanted to make sure that council gave it the proper
Thank you very much.
review.
Yes, so what is the pleasure of council? The hearing is closed, and I believe everybody has spoken. Go ahead, sir.
I don't know if you want to go to the next person to see if they'll read it, or, I'm glad to read it if.
That's right. The next person was Hurtak. No, it goes back to Miranda, because there were a couple of no votes, and I switched over. If you wish to read it, Councilman Miranda, if not, I'll go down the line.
I'll pass.
Councilman Vieira. Go ahead, sir.
I move an ordinance presented for first reading consideration, ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, vacating, closing, discontinuing, and abandoning a portion of West Dryad Street, right-of-way located north of San Gable Court, south of San Miguel Street, east of Old Tampa Bay, and west of Dundee Street, within the plat of Sunset Camp subdivision, the City of Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida, as more fully described in Section 2 hereof, subject to certain covenants, conditions, and restrictions as more particularly set forth herein, providing for enforcement and penalties of violations, providing for definitions, interpretations, and repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Let's do a roll call.
Carlson? No. Hurtak? No. Clendenin?
No.
Henderson?
Yes.
Vieira?
Yes.
Miranda?
Yes.
And Maniscalco?
No.
Motion failed with Carlson, Hurtak, Clendenin, and Maniscalco voting no.
Do you need a motion of denial, or is that sufficient, Mr. Shelby?
This being a request for something related to private property rights, I would suspect, Ms. Johnson-Velez, we should have something to deny. An official, to take action on this application requires, by your charter, an affirmative vote of 4. So my suggestion would be a motion to deny would give you that if it
All
passes.
right, is there a motion to deny file number VAC-25-06?
Let's make a motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny file number VAC-25-06. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. Roll call vote.
Miranda.
No.
Carlson.
Yes.
Hurtak. Yes. Clendenin.
Yes.
Henderson.
No.
Vieira. No. And Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carried with Miranda, Henderson, and Vieira voting no.
All right, before we break for lunch, there's item number 62, which should not be very long, regarding the Encore Community Development District. Who is presenting on 62? If there's no one here, we'll wait till later. Oh, yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Good afternoon, Council. Emma Gregory, Legal Department. This is a proposed first reading for an
If we could
ordinance
please leave quietly,
amending-
we're still in the hearing, meeting.
I don't think they hear you.
All right. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Good morning, Emma Gregory, Legal Department. This is an ordinance on first reading to amend the boundaries of the Encore Community Development District. And we have the applicant's representative here, Sarah Sandy, should you have any questions.
All right, any questions? Do we have, does the applicant have anything to add? No, you have to come up and speak if you do, because of the microphone and the closed captioning. Yes, ma'am, please state your name.
Hi, Sarah Sandy, Q-Tech Rock, 107 West College Avenue in Tallahassee, Florida, representing the Encore Community Development District. I don't have anything additional to present, but happy to answer any questions should you have any.
All right, any questions? Yes, Councilman Vieira.
Stupid question. What law firm do you work for?
Q-Tech Rock?
Making sure, not mine. Okay,
Okay.
sorry. Just- I know, may have missed something.
No problem.
Councilmember Henderson? Oh, is there anybody, is there any public comment on 62? No, ma'am. Councilmember Hurtak.
Thank you. Just for the public, do you have a map that shows this?
I do, sorry,
I think I do.
computer, I believe
Give me 1 second.
it was,
Oh,
it
here
was
we
part
go.
of our petition. Yeah.
Yes, but again, just for the public seeing.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Can you see that?
I have not, and I know this one's not in color, so it's a little
Oh,
bit
that's fine.
harder to see. And you can see in very small the hashed out area is what is being added. There are a couple of additional little areas that are being added into the boundary as well. Part of correcting the development plan, which was updated in 2014 after the CDD was established back in 2010. So it's just bringing those two boundaries into alignment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess, do we need a motion to close? It's just a first read. Well, let's do a motion to close item 62.
Well, actually, you've had a request, council's request is to ask if anybody wanted to speak to it.
Is there anybody, is there anybody that's here to speak on 62?
Okay, now the.
All right, now we got a motion to close? Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilmember Henderson, would you like to read 62?
Yes, sir. I move file number E 2010-8, Chapter 27, an ordinance being presented for first reading consideration. An ordinance by the City Council of the City of Tampa, Florida, amending ordinance number 2010-129, which established the Encore Community Development District, providing for amendment to change the geographical boundaries of the district pursuant to Section 190.046, providing for all other terms and conditions to remain unchanged, providing for conflict and severability, and providing an effective date.
We have a second from Councilmember Vieira, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations.
Motion carried unanimously. Second reading and adoption will be held on June 5th, 2025 at 10 o'clock a.m. in Old City Hall, 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Mr. Shelby.
Yes, Council. Mark Shelby, City Council Attorney. Before we break for lunch, just a very quick item. If you just recall, item 60.
I need your microphone on, sir. I can't
That
hear
would
you.
help. Thank you. Item 61, to recall to correct the date, please. A motion to amend council's motion to set the correct date of June 26th, 2025.
We have a motion, we have a second from Councilmember Vieira, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much, council.
Council, how much time would you like for lunch? It's 12:31. Do you want to come back at 2? Or 1:45? 1:45, we'll be back.
Scheduled lunch with constituents.
All right, so what, 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock would be best.
All right, 2 o'clock, we'll be back. We're in recess till 2.